Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here on my YouTube channel, brought to you in part by our friends over at Mint Mobile. My name is John Campea, and it is an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, our international friends, gather around as we talk about our favorite things in the world: movies, movie news, TV, and streaming, all sorts of good stuff. Joining me sitting right over here, Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, how you doing?
John, as I told you, I'm very excited. A movie's getting made. The Shamhammer's new movie. I didn't even know who's making that. It's based on an incredible book. Don't read the book. Just watch the movie because it's going to be great.
And we're going to talk about that M. Night movie here in just a second. Sitting right beside him, it's Thursday, so we're joined by Amy Newman today. Amy, how you doing?
Great. Happy fall, everybody.
Today the first day of fall?
It is the first day of fall. That's why I got my little pumpkins going. Also, I love you encouraging people. Like, don't read a book.
Yeah, don't.
You heard it here
Actually,
first.
that's not true. We'll talk
Screw
about
books,
that
says Robert Meyer
You're on the
Burnett.
show tomorrow, Amy.
I am.
And you're going to be hungover.
Probably.
Because what are you doing tonight?
I'm going to Not Scary Farm. I'm very
Taylor's
scared.
taking you, right?
Taylor's taking me.
All right.
I'm terrified. I did do Universal recently, and I got so scared at one point, I just like panicked and tried to run into a scare actor's little like hidey hole with them, and they had to tell me to get out. So that's my goal tonight, to not be like, I'm coming with you, Scarecrow, because that's what I did last time.
Amy, are you ready to get scared Shrekless tonight?
I'm going to Shrek my pants.
Oh, yeah. All right, guys.
Boy.
Also, joining us, sitting over here, joining you guys in the live chat today, Ray Orr is here. Ray, how you doing?
Great news for Rob. Guess what I did for you last night?
for
For
I want to
Designing
know?
Hollywood. I finished all the Designing Hollywood stuff for you.
Oh, thank
for
you.
today. So, little promotion for our other show.
I appreciate that you did those things. And,
Yeah.
you got the pictures I sent you.
Yep. And also, Taylor, don't worry. Amy will protect you.
Oh, thank you.
Amy will protect you. Sitting beside Ray, running the show today, producer Jonathan Voico. Jonathan, how you doing?
I'm doing okay. You'll get no protection from me.
And guys, most importantly, you are here. We are so glad you decided to make this show part of your day. Here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to break it down into two parts. First half of the show, we're going to talk about some predetermined topics. Second half of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. If you want to get a live comment or question on the show, two things. Number one, got to be watching live. Number two, when we get to the end of the main topics, we'll announce that we're opening up the super chats. And when we do, that'll be your cue to start firing your thoughts, theories, ideas, suggestions, questions, whatever, and we will address those in the second half of the show. Also, a little bit of housekeeping here. I want to remind you, if you need your daily dose of the John Campea Show, but you can't be in front of a YouTube video, maybe you're going for a jog or whatever. Good news. There's an audio-only version of the show in podcast form that we simply call the John Campea Show podcast. Go and find it on your favorite podcasting app of choice and subscribe to it today. Also, a little bit later today at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we will, of course, be back here with Open Mic, and we hope you will join us for that. All right, guys. With that down, let's jump into some off-the-top action here, shall we? And the thing we're going to start off with is this. Of course, this weekend, the biggest box office hit of all time, Avatar, gets re-released in theaters. Turns out, though, in some other territories, it actually came out yesterday. And one of the reports coming out from people watching Avatar, besides saying it was great to see it on the big screen again and all that kind of stuff, is that if you stay to the end, they're actually showing a bunch of scenes for Avatar 2, The Way of Water, right? By the way, terrible title. But Avatar, The Way of Water is, they're showing a bunch of scenes to it for those people who are going out to see Avatar. Rob, let me ask you this. Do you think now that word is getting, they haven't promoted that,
No.
but the word is now getting out. Do you think this will entice some people who might have been on the fence about going to see the Avatar re-release, that maybe they'll head out to see it now just because they know they're going to get a sneak peek at the new movie?
I think they might. I mean, why not? If you're an Avatar fan or you're thinking about going, like I am going this weekend, I'm seeing it in IMAX 3D. I think maybe it will get people to go out. I think people are, look, we in our little movie pundit bubble tend to, I think Avatar is pretty divisive. It's Fern Gully in space. I don't think that's true. I think it's an astonishing achievement of imaginative filmmaking. It would certainly get me. If you're an Avatar fan, and a lot of people are, I think it will get people to come out and see, because they want to see more of, this world. Remember when this movie came out, there were people that were having Pandora withdrawals. They're like,
Yeah.
I want to live in Pandora. They wanted to live in a fictional place that didn't exist, that you couldn't get to because we don't have the technology to get in space anyway.
Amy, what do you think? Does knowing they're going to show some actual scenes from the new Avatar movie going to move the needle for you at all about going out to see the re-release this weekend?
I'm going to be real honest about this. I am going to go see it because I've never seen it before.
Wow.
Really? Then you're seeing it the right way. You're going to see it on the big screen for the first time.
I was not a big moviegoer when I was younger, and when it came out, I was like, I don't really care. And when I finally had interest in it, there was that moment of like, someday they're going to re-release this in theaters. I don't want to watch it at home. From everything I've heard, if you're going to see it, go see it on the big screen in 3D in IMAX. So I've waited, and my patience has finally paid off. But from what I've heard, that is really the way to see this movie. So I don't know how much it'll move the needle for people, because my thought is, if you either have waited or you love this movie, you were probably, if you care enough that like scenes from the sequel excite you, you were probably already excited to get to see it on the big screen again. You were probably the type of
person that you were going to go see the re-release
exactly,
anyway.
Yeah.
All right, guys, question is for you. Do you think you have a better chance now of going out to see the Avatar re-release this week, knowing that they're going to show extra scenes? Maybe you were planning on going anyway. Maybe you're not planning on seeing either of them. Whatever your thoughts are, jump down into the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. Okay, guys, with that down, we're not going to move on to one of our newest segments here on the show, our Mint Mobile Hotline Question of the Day. It's great when you guys write in questions. It's even better when we get to hear your voice. If you've got a question for our Mint Mobile Hotline, just call the hotline at 951-268-4259. So, Jonathan, what is our hotline question of the day today?
Hey, John, this is Alan. I know we have the Avatar re-release coming up this week as well, and I was just wondering, do you think it could possibly be number one at the box office? And if it did, for example, beat Don't Worry, Darling, would that be a huge disappointment? Thanks. Love to hear your thoughts.
All right, thanks a lot for calling that in, Alan. And you know what? You raised an interesting question. So the Avatar re-release is this weekend. Don't Worry, Darling, which has turned into a car wreck. Everybody's talking about this movie for all the wrong reasons. Actually, I think it was a headline on, I can't remember if it was CNN or Variety, one of the two, that basically the headline is, Don't Worry, Darling. Unfortunately, the movie's not as interesting as the drama surrounding it. And it's like, well, I mean, but that's true, right? Mm-hmm. It could still make some money. We saw some early box office forecasting for it come out the other day saying it could make upwards of $20 million opening weekend, maybe even more. And if it does, great. But with Avatar coming out, and we just talked about the fact that they're adding in some Avatar 2 scenes into it as well. How big of a punch in the face would it be to Don't Worry, Darling, the studio, Olivia Wilde, if this re-release of how old is this movie now?
It's 2009, right?
Was it 2009?
So
we're looking at a 13-year-old movie, gets a re-release and beats it at the box office. The humiliation would be significant. That said, I don't see that happening. Not because I think Don't Worry, Darling is going to be a huge box office darling, pardon the pun, but I just don't think the re-release of Avatar, re-releases don't generally do that well, right? They make a few $1 million, they move on. Avatar has a great chance of doing very well for a re-release, but I don't see it, breaking $10 million. And if it did make $10 million, that's a huge win for them. But I do see Don't Worry, Darling making more than that. So I don't think, now we'll find out on Monday, but for now, I don't think that the Avatar re-release can beat Don't Worry, Darling. And don't forget, The Woman King is out there too, and getting like real positive word of mouth. So there's that as well. So no, I don't see the re-release taking number one at the box office. Amy, do you think this re-release of Avatar can take number one at the box office?
I'm sorry, I'm still reeling that 2009 was 13 years ago. So give me a second to process that information. But otherwise, I see where you're coming from with this, John. I see the skepticism that it could, but I kind of feel like if anything could, it's Avatar.
I don't disagree.
Again,
if anything good, it is Avatar.
Talking about that, for me going, I've never seen it. I'm going to wait. I'm going to pay to see it. Well, I have AMC, whatever. But but I'm going to take that time to go see it if I'm ever going to watch it. And again, that people did this experience was such sort of this juggernaut thing to go see it in theaters. I think people are going to come out in bigger numbers than you would see for any regular re-release of something. And at the end of the day, I'm a little worried for Don't Worry, Darling. These early reviews have not been positive. And I almost feel like there's a bit of you'd think all the mess of this press tour and everything would sort of drive interest, but that combined with sort of the ultimate punchline of it's just not that good a movie, I feel like people are already a little over it.
You know, to your point, the other thing that's unique about this Avatar re-release is that it is literally building up to a sequel coming out just shortly. You know, sometimes older movies just get re-released in a vacuum. This is not that case. Rob, like, you're hearing all of this. Does Avatar have a chance? I think we all agree if any film was going to do it, a re-release, this is probably this Avatar. But will this Avatar movie actually take number one at the box office this weekend?
Well, without knowing, I don't know how many theaters it's being released in. Like, is it a major wide release or is it more of a specialty release where it's going to only certain theaters?
It's listed on Box Office Mojo as wide.
So if it is, if it's wide, I think it certainly does have a chance because like you, Amy, I think there's a lot of people who just haven't seen it.
Or to your point, if people are, getting hyped for the sequel, how many people are watching it regularly at home? I think there's going to be a lot of people going, I don't really remember the ins and outs of Avatar. I kind of need a refresher.
And you can't watch it at home right now because Disney pulled it down
There
in
you go.
anticipation of the re-release.
And the thing is, I keep going back to when I took my mom, she'd never seen an IMAX movie or an IMAX 3D film. Mm-hmm. My mom is a very unimaginative, very pragmatic woman. When it was over, her eyes were as big as saucers. And she turned and looked at me and she said, with wonder in her eyes. And I didn't see my mom have a lot of wonder in her eyes, but she said, how did they do that? And she loved it. And my mom was 70 when I took her. And so I think a lot of people had that response to it. We're jaded film fans.
Will it? Now, can it? Sure, it can. But will it be number one?
I think the potential's there.
Okay, no, I'm going to put your feet to the fire. Will it be number one? I'm going to say no.
See what happens.
Amy is saying yes.
I gotta go with no. I gotta go with no only because Harry Styles fans, there's a lot of them.
There are a lot of them.
And but again, I honestly don't know. I would have to look at and see theater numbers.
All right. Well, guys,
I'm going to go no.
Okay, you're going to go no. I'm going to go no, but we'll find out if any film can do it. Like Amy was saying, it is Avatar. What do you think? With the Woman King still out there getting great word of mouth. Don't Worry, Darling coming out. Can an Avatar re-release take number one at the box office this weekend? What do you guys think? Jump down to the comment section below and leave us your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, we're going to move on to our main topics. But before we do, we're going to take a quick second here and thank one of the sponsors of our show today, giving me comfort with every step that I take and every chair I sit in. Our friends over at MeUndies. We want to take a second and thank a sponsor of this video, MeUndies. Luckily, we here at the John Campea Show work with MeUndies, makers of the most buttery, soft, and sustainable undies, bralettes, and socks that exist. Like many of you guys, I have spent my entire life wearing completely useless and uncomfortable underwear. And it wasn't until the good folks at MeUndies sent me my first couple of pairs that I realized I have not been living my life to the fullest. Now I wear MeUndies every single day, and it makes my whole day a hell of a lot more comfortable. Guaranteed to be the softest stuff you've ever felt in your life. Their signature micro-modal fabric is sustainable, breathable, and stretchy as heck. Available in sizes extra small to 4XL, they have new colors and prints dropping weekly, so there's always something exciting to check out. Try their free-to-join membership for free shipping on every order and exclusive perks, like an item shipped to your door every month, secret sales, and early access to their newest stuff. MeUndies has a great offer for the John Campea Show audience. For any first-time purchasers, you get 20% off plus free shipping and returns. So to get 20% off your first order, free shipping, and 100% satisfaction guarantee, go to MeUndies.com/Campea. That's MeUndies.com/Campea. And thank you to our friends at MeUndies for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. Okay, guys, with that down, let's move into our main topics. And how do we select our main topics? That's easy. You guys come up with our main topics. See, whenever you come across a big topic, issue, or story that you guys feel we have to have as a main topic on the show, just go anytime 24/7 over to www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact. Once you guys get there, you're going to see a form. Fill it out with your topic or question. It is absolutely free. Hit submit, and then maybe, just maybe, you might see your submission featured as a main topic here on the John Campea Show. With that down, Amy, What is our first main topic today?
Our first topic comes to us from Regenerating Rob. Hello, John and crew. I got up early to watch She-Hulk and noticed the trailer for M. Night Shyamalan's next film, Knock at the Cabin, was released, starring Dave Bautista and Rupert Grint. Shyamalan's movies can be very hit or miss, but this looks interesting with an interesting cast. Did you have a chance to see it, and what did you think?
Yeah, M. Night can make the best movies and the worst movies.
Mm-hmm.
And he has certainly made a couple of the best, and he's certainly made a couple of the worst. But, a few years ago, he started to have a bit of a resurgence, like with The Visit. That's the one to me that I was like, oh, wait, M. Night still got something in him with that. I really like The Visit. And then, of course, the stuff with Glass and things like that. But this new trailer comes out of nowhere for Knock at the Cabin.
Dude.
And I got to tell you, I thought this trailer looked really good. Now, this comes to us from the folks over at Slash Film who write the following. Loosely based on Paul Tremblay's 2018 novel, The Cabin at the End of the World, this home invasion horror film of the apocalypse has an absolutely killer cast. Excitement first sparked when Guardians of the Galaxy star and pro wrestler Dave Bautista joined the film, with Shyamalan citing his turn in Blade Runner 2049 as his reasoning for casting him. Shortly after, Harry Potter mainstay Rupert Grint was cast, who recently had a phenomenal run in Shyamalan's Apple TV Plus series Servant. The two are joined by Nikki Amuka Bird, I hope I'm saying that right, who was seen in Shyamalan's Old, with Mindhunter, Hamilton, and The Matrix Resurrection star Jonathan Groff, and Ben Aldridge from Pennyworth and Fleabag rounding out the cast. Yeah, this trailer was a surprise. I didn't know they were anywhere near getting ready to put out a trailer for this. And listen, whenever you're about to watch something from M. Night, you're like, what's it going to be? Flip the coin. I got to say, this looks pretty good. And seeing Rupert Grint in there, I don't know. I'm not a huge Harry Potter guy, but that makes my heart happy.
Yeah.
I like, hopefully this is kind of a villainous role. I don't know enough about the book that Rob has read, but I think the trailer looks great. Rob, you had a chance to see this trailer. What are your thoughts?
Dude, I didn't know this movie was getting made. Now, this movie, based on the book Cabin at the End, I read Cabin at the End of the World in one sitting.
That's crazy.
It's a one-sitting book. And the book is crazy. It's incredible. This isn't loosely based on the book. This is based on the book. Like, when I watch this, I knew exactly, it's Knock at the Cabin. I'm like, I had never heard of this movie. What? And as soon as the thing turned on and you see the two married guys and their adopted daughter, I'm like, oh my God, this is Cabin at the End of the World. All I'm saying is that if you're not going to read the book, go in cold. Don't read. I mean, obviously the book is incredible. I said at the top of the show, don't read the book. The book's incredible. But now that they've made a movie, I would have liked to have seen this movie, having read the book, cold. Because if he's adapted, the fact that Dave Bautista is playing, perfect cast. The casting, I can't even begin to tell you how perfect the casting is for this movie. I am so excited.
But what did you think of the trailer?
I loved it because it was, it tells you nothing. The trailer deal, all I can say is this is going to, if he F's this up, I'm done.
You're struggling today.
I'm done with this.
He's so emotional.
I'm so excited about this. John, I told you when I walked in, I didn't know this movie was getting made. And I love this book. Yeah. I'm spitting. I'm sorry. I'm so excited. But I wish, like Barbarian, this trailer only sets up the story. I was so happy they don't tell you. There's one shot at the end. I'm like, you didn't need to put that in there, but it's fine. No one knows what it is. But this is going to be great.
You know what I love about this trailer? I know more about this movie than I do about Black Adam after watching 3 trailers. Because this, like you were saying, it doesn't give away anything, but it told me, which is very rare for a first trailer to do, it told me what this movie was about. There's this family, 2 dads or daughter, they're off in the woods in the middle of the thing. A stranger arrives with people with them. They break into the house, captivate them, or capture them and say to them, your family is destined to make a terrible choice. But your family has to make this choice, because if your family doesn't make this choice, the world ends, and we are here to try to save the apocalypse. It's like, that's it. I don't know any of the twists or turns that are happening. I don't know what's going to happen in the movie, but I now know what this movie is, and that's what a trailer should do, and that's why I loved this trailer.
John, I hope they don't release another trailer. I know the movie comes out in February. Please don't release another trailer.
Yeah, if you don't want anybody to come to your movie, don't put out. They will definitely put out 2 more trailers.
And if you're going to read the book,
but hopefully they don't give away a lot.
Read the book, yeah. But otherwise, don't do yourself a favor. If you're not going to read the book, go in cold.
Amy, you had a chance to see this. I'm assuming without the benefit of having read the book first.
No, I have not.
What did you think
I
about
don't
the trailer
read. You
for
know
Knock at the Cabin?
First of all, I'm excited about how excited you
I'm
are.
so
Like
excited.
it raised my excitement level like 10. I'm getting the full like don't worry darling press tour experience over here. So thank you for that.
Sorry about that.
Fine. This is a great like kind of horror creepy trailer because it doesn't give you much, and what it does give you kind of has all these elements that are so exciting. You got the cabin in the woods classic. Honestly, just seeing this family and how instantly, because that's one thing for me with movies like this, how quickly I just stopped giving a shit about the family so often. And immediately I'm like, well, I love Jonathan Groff. This family seems actually kind of intelligent and on top of it. So immediately I'm going, okay, I think I can invest with this. And yeah, that twist without giving much away is so intriguing of what is this decision. And I hope they do not start telling me too much more in the next trailer.
They shouldn't tell you anything.
Yeah. No, I may actively avoid more trailers for that reason, but I'm hoping it's good Shyamalan because it looks like it has the potential to be really great. And again, hearing someone say this book is so good and it looks like they might have nailed it makes me really enthusiastic.
And Amy, I was just happy something happened I didn't know about. You know, we know that all this stuff is coming. We talk about it it's forever. And I had no idea this was being adapted. And I mean, it made me feel so good.
Well, guys, question is for you. What are we about to get? Are we about to get Shamhammer's next Unbreakable, or are we about to get his next Lady in the Water? Who knows? It's a coin flip, but I think the trailer looks pretty good. Question is for you. What did you think about the trailer for Knock at the Cabin? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and leave us your thoughts. All right, guys, with that down, let's move on to main topic number 2. Amy, what is our second main topic today?
Our second main topic comes to us from Aaron Austin. Aaron says, it looks like the whole band is back together. When they said they were doing a new Beverly Hills Cop movie, I expected a few cameos of familiar faces, but it looks like they're bringing the whole cast back. Besides Eddie Murphy, they also got Judge Reinhold, John Ashton, Paul Reiser, and Bronson Pinchot to come back too. I'll be honest, I didn't even know a couple of them were still alive. What did you think of this announcement and that cast coming back? Thanks.
Here's the funny thing, Aaron. I didn't know all of them were alive either. I honestly didn't know they were all alive either. I was 100% just like you. When they were announcing this Beverly Hills Cop, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not going to pretend that I'm super excited for it. I'm not super excited for it. But I'm intrigued. I was expecting a few, like you said, cameos. But them bringing the whole crew back. You know, we were just talking not long ago about Judge Reinhold. There was a period where, like in the 80s and early 90s, it's like, every new trailer, flip a coin if Judge Reinhold's going to be in it or not. Because it was honestly, it felt like it was 50-50 because it just felt like he was popping up in everything for a while. And then just kind of disappeared and just kind of like was gone. So I love seeing that he's in this. And let's bring up that webpage, Jonathan, because this is the funny thing. The guy who plays, the guy beside Judge Reinhold there, if that's his partner cop, that guy looks like he's aged 8 years in the last 30. Like that, I was like, what? Whatever. Paul Reiser is now in fucking everything.
Yeah, killing it.
He's popping up in everything. Doesn't matter if it's Stranger Things or if it's The Boys or like 10 other projects he's got going. So now he's popping up back in this as well. Listen, again, I'm not going to pretend that I am excited about this movie, but it does raise my interest level a little bit more, seeing that the whole band is back together again. I think that's pretty cool. Rob, I think you've been more excited about this movie than I have been. And what do you think about this with the whole cast coming back?
Look, Beverly Hills Cop is one of my favorite.
The original
movies
is
of the year.
really good.
I love the original. Even the sequel, the second one's pretty good. Tony Scott directed that too. But this, Beverly Hills Cop is 38 years old. 38 years old. Let's say Eddie Murphy's character, Axel Foley, in the first movie was 25. 25 plus 38. And he's still a cop? What is he, a beat cop? Like, you know, even Ronnie Cox is still alive, Lieutenant Bogomil. And he was, how old is he? 50? You know, when he made the look, I will get excited for this because I love the original. Maybe this is the Top Gun Maverick, both Paramount films of the Beverly Hills Cop franchise. But John, I'm a little dubious.
Come on, man. I listened to Neutron Dance from Pointer Sisters on my drive out here because of this news.
Look, I would love to see, I mean, Paul Reiser, when he's in the first movie, when he's like, this is not my locker. I love that. But I hope it's good.
The question is, which Star Wars storyline will it pick? Will it rip off Star Wars like Maverick did?
Clearly
Anyway,
Empire.
Amy, okay, I almost hesitate to ask this because I don't think you were alive when the first Beverly Hills Cop came out.
No, sir.
Have you ever seen the original Beverly Hills
I
Cop?
haven't.
Okay.
I
you know,
haven't.
You know what?
I'm waiting for that 3D
A lot of
re-release.
people
In IMAX.
Yeah.
in
exactly.
IMAX.
I'll
I
wait
am
to see it.
surprised how many people I've talked to in the last couple of months since news of this came out that have actually said they've never actually watched any of the Beverly Hills Cop movies before. So I was a little bit surprised by that.
Yeah.
Anyway, what do you think about them bringing back like the original cast from the, what did you say it was, 38-year-old?
38 years. It was 1984.
What do you think?
I mean, it's impressive they were able to get everyone back. I want to say that makes me more hopeful. Again, I'm obviously not a huge Beverly Hills Cop fan. I haven't seen the original, but I feel like that can so go either way. I mean, it's cool that they got, some of these people are obviously still big names. Obviously, Paul Reiser having a really big moment right now. But as someone said, we're all kind of going, oh, didn't know a couple of these people were alive. It just doesn't feel like one that's itching for a reboot or a sequel for me. And again, maybe it's just, it didn't quite have the pop cultural staying power. There's movies from this generation that I feel like my generation, it is like, not that I loved these, but it's like, more Ghostbusters. We all love Ghostbusters. And I feel like this is one I'm just not feeling quite as much. It's cool they got everyone back. If it's getting great reviews, I'd probably check it out. But not super high on my list of things I'm excited about.
I just looked up Eddie Murphy's 61. So shouldn't this be Beverly Hills Detective?
In his prime, man.
Like, would he still be a cop?
Yeah, he probably should be. He should be retired at this point.
Yeah, I mean, can you be a cop at 61?
And here's the other thing that's kind of has like holding back my excitement about it. And it's not fair. It's not fair. But one of our viewers a few weeks ago brought this up, and it is completely not fair, but it is true nonetheless. I think the sequel to Coming to America is hurting my ability to have excitement about this. And listen, it's a totally different property. It's totally different writers. It's not fair that I should let my overwhelming disappointment of Coming to America 2 like hinder my excitement about this, but I think it is, even though that's completely not fair.
I know exactly where you're coming from. Look, I love Dolomite Is My Name.
Oh, it's so good.
I
love
Eddie
Murphy's so great in
and
it.
Craig Brewer directed both Dolomite Is My Name and Coming to America 2. I thought Coming to America 2 was going to be great.
So
thought
did
it was
I.
gonna be great.
So did I.
It looked great, and when I saw it, I was like, because the first one holds up. You go back and watch that first movie; it's funny
it's
as hell,
hilarious.
And I don't necessarily. I mean, I like the idea of doing sequels to movies, but like when Paul Newman did The Hustler in the '60s, Fast Eddie Felson, that was great. The Color of Money, the sequel to that was made in the '80s, 25 years later, it was like a different movie. It was still the same character. It was a sequel, but they called it something else. And if you had not seen the original, you could still enjoy I almost want to say that they should have done that, like Colored of Money it, because calling it Beverly Hills Cop puts something in my mind where, like in Maverick, they did a good job because I was thinking, well, how is he still a fighter pilot? And they got over that quickly. I'm like, okay, I'll buy it. But do I buy a 61-year-old cop?
You know what could actually have been more relevant for this day, as far as Eddie Murphy remakes, is Trading Places, especially with our current situation.
That could have been like more.
stock
that's
market,
probably coming.
Housing market,
Yeah.
trading.
That would have been much more applicable. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? I will admit, I think my anticipation level of this movie's moved up a bit, knowing that they're bringing the whole original crowd back, but maybe that works against it. Are you guys looking forward to this movie? Maybe you are, maybe you're not. Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. All right, guys, with that down, let's move on to main topic number 3. Amy, what is our third main topic today?
Our third main topic comes to us from Nithalon. Hi, John and crew. Did you see the new Instagram post from Ms. Marvel directors Adil El Arbi and Bilal Fallah? They posted some footage and said, "Who's ready for season 2" in the caption. Am I just being too hopeful, or is this an actual Ms. Marvel season 2 announcement?
All right, thanks a lot for writing that in, man. Listen, Ms. Marvel, I think I'm settled on it now. Ms. Marvel, I think, is the second best Marvel Plus show, Disney Plus show. Disney Plus Marvel show, I should say. Yeah, I was wrestling with it and WandaVision, but I think WandaVision is still the gold standard.
Yeah.
But Ms. Marvel just blew me away in ways that I wish, Falcon the Winter Soldier or Loki or Hawkeye or Moon Knight or whatever could have. I loved the show. It had so much heart, so much character. It was so charming. I just absolutely loved it. Now, I had my doubts that they were going to do a Ms. Marvel season 2 because they seem to now be transitioning her to the big screen. We've got the Marvels coming out. We know that Iman Vellani is going to be, a prime character in that. They actually teased it at the end of the last episode, so it's all there. However, guys who directed a couple of those episodes are maybe hinting there's a season 2, as you said. They put up an Instagram post, and let's bring up that web page there. Let's bring up the web page for a second and scroll down a bit, because they actually put up a social media post. If you scroll down on it, Jonathan, a little bit further,
Don't show me that Pinocchio.
Where they actually said, who's ready for season 2? So, that seems to be a bit of a tease that maybe they're going to be doing season 2. But they're the only ones suggesting it right now, because here's the thing. This comes from the folks over at Screen Rant who did write the following. There has been no official word or movement on Ms. Marvel season 2, but a recent rumor suggested that it was renewed in secret at Marvel Studios. That is what makes a recent post by Ms. Marvel co-directors Ida El Arabi and Bilal Falah potentially quite notable. The directors shared a video on Instagram of them talking about working on the series, and the caption reads, "Just reminiscing on our time spent on the MCU, who's ready for season 2?" The caption teases they could be involved in Ms. Marvel season 2 if it does happen. However, it is worth noting that several other creatives with the show have said that they did not think a second season would happen, and Iman Vellani, the star of the series, even recently noted that she knows nothing about Ms. Marvel season 2. That comes to us from Screen Rant. Now, it also should be noted that, I'm gonna hold off on that one. But yeah, so we have the directors. Listen, you also got to keep in mind that these guys didn't direct all of Ms. Marvel. They were featured very prominently in the Making of Ms. Marvel documentary on Disney Plus, which, by the way, was very good. But they didn't direct all of the episodes. One of the other directors actually specifically said the plan is for there to not be a season 2. So it sounds kind of like maybe they're fishing a little bit out there. It's like, hey, Marvel, look, people want a season 2. I don't know. I'm going to stay on what I thought before. I don't think there's going to be season 2. I think they're graduating Ms. Marvel to the big screen. So, but hey, I would totally welcome a season 2 if they did it, but I think they're moving her on. Amy, you read the comments from the directors. Do you think there's going to be a Ms. Marvel season 2?
I don't. Reading this and reading the, out of context, who's ready for season 2? Sure, maybe. But reading the full caption of we're reminiscing, who's ready for season 2? And even the punctuation, not to read too deep, but the question mark, exclamation point, it feels very playful to me. It feels very right? Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Wouldn't that be fun? Maybe they're kind of trying to move the needle that direction. But ultimately, this read is playful to me. And frankly, with Ms. Marvel moving to the big screen, it would feel almost like a weird backstep to then bring her back onto TV. It's just not something I could quite see them doing. I think if say the Marvels was a huge breakout hit or something, we could even get movement down the line with, Ms. Marvel in more of the MCU film side of things, or even a solo movie, but I couldn't see them putting her back on TV.
Rob, what do you think? Do you think we're going to get a Ms. Marvel season 2 after reading those comments?
No. And also, these are the directors of Batgirl.
Yes.
And Kevin Feige did come out when this Batgirl business went down and came out in support on social media.
Well, they did a very good job on Ms. Marvel.
Yeah, they did a great job on Ms. Marvel. And I think that like you were pointing out just now, I think Ms. Marvel is now moving into a feature film career, which we haven't seen yet. I think they were literally, just like he said, we were reminiscing. They're probably sitting around going, we need a job. So they're reminiscing, and they had a great experience, and they did a great, John, I'm with you. I loved Ms. Marvel. I thought that it was a show that in its conception and its execution did exactly what they wanted it to do. I thought, and you and I both loved the secondary characters, the family aspects, the acting was terrific. She's phenomenal, but she's going to be in a movie, a big movie. I mean, the Marvels is going to be a big movie for them, I think. And I think she's moving. Miss Marvel is going to be a feature franchise character unless they do a Young Avengers TV show. And she'll come back in that.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this story? Do you think the director's social media posts hints that there is going to be a season 2? Or do you not think that? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. All right, guys, before we move on to our next topic, we're going to take a second to thank another sponsor of today's show. I love these guys, watch them all the time, the folks at MasterClass. Hey guys, we want to take a second to thank the sponsor of this video, MasterClass. You guys know we have been sponsored by MasterClass, and we love them here at the John Campea Show for giving us in-depth information on a wide variety of topics from the world's best experts. With MasterClass, you can learn from the world's best minds anytime, anywhere, and at your own pace. You can learn the art of filmmaking from James Cameron, improve your cooking skills from Gordon Ramsay, or learn how to make compelling YouTube videos from Marquise Brownlee. With over 150 classes from a range of world-class instructors, that thing you've always wanted to do is closer than you think. I was recently watching through the independent filmmaking course by Spike Lee, and I found it fascinating that not only did he cover the broader topics like working with actors, but he also gets into finer details like working with a cinematographer and how to properly audition a DP for your project. It was fascinating. So guys, I highly recommend that you check it out. Get unlimited access to every class, and as a John Campea Show listener, you get 15% off an annual membership. Go to masterclass.com/Campea now. That's masterclass.com/Campea for 15% off Masterclass. And thank you to our friends at MasterClass for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. Remember, guys, when you support our sponsors, you're actually supporting us. So make sure you go down to the description right at the top there. You're going to find links to all of our sponsors and their promo codes. And again, thank you to MasterClass. All right, with that down, let's get into main topic number 4. Amy, what is our 4th main topic today?
Darren K says, hey guys, so I got up early this morning to watch the new episode of She-Hulk, and it was okay. And that's how I'm feeling about this whole show. It's okay. I mean, I don't mind tuning in to watch it, but it's not like Rings of Power or House of the Dragon where I'm counting down the days till a new episode comes out. This episode was just that. Okay, but didn't make me excited for the next one. Did you guys see the episode, and what did you think about it?
All right, Darren, thanks a lot for saying that in. And yeah, look, She-Hulk is a really interesting Marvel, case study, if you will. I thought the first episode of She-Hulk was great with the stuff with Bruce and all that kind of stuff. I thought it was great. Once we got into episode 2, the show started to become what it was, which was an Alan McBeal style Marvel sitcom. And that's what it meant to be. And I appreciate it for that. I appreciate what they've been going for. And I've enjoyed moments along the way. There have been episodes I've enjoyed more than others, and we're now 6 episodes in. But a couple of weeks ago, you guys will remember I started talking about, here's my problem with the show. And I talked about it a lot ad nauseum last week, but I'll bring it up again here. My problem with the show is that while I love the concept, and I recognize what they're going for, and all that entails. My problem has been, this is a comedy, and it's not funny. That's been my issue. Now, there have been moments of big laughs for me. Like, F everybody else. I don't give a shit what anybody else thinks about it. That twerking scene with Megan Thee Stallion was brilliant, and I laughed my guts out at it. I thought that was hilarious. The Madison stuff, I ended up falling in love with it, even though I was kind of annoyed by it at first. By the time they got to the end and they're freaking watching This Is Us and eating chips or whatever, I thought that was hilarious. There have been a couple of moments, but I can count on one hand the number of moments through 6 episodes that I have guffawed, laughed out loud. 5 times in 6 episodes. It should be 5 times per episode. And this recent episode of She-Hulk, the one that, with her going to the wedding, and we're not going to go into big details, but I mean, no Daredevil, despite the fact that, and that's fine. Daredevil could have been in it. Wouldn't have changed a thing. The show's not funny. I just went through the entire episode, and the basic gist of it is Jennifer gets invited to be a bridesmaid in a wedding of a friend of hers from high school. And, of course, the dichotomy that she's struggling with, am I She-Hulk, am I Jen? That kind of comes into play and whatever. And Titania shows up. Uh-oh. And what happens there? And that's all fine. And it's all good. And if I had read that as a 2-paragraph outline of the episode, I would have thought, oh, this is going to be an interesting episode. But it's not funny. And I've said this before. I say it about horror films. In horror films, you can do everything wrong. Everything wrong. You can have bad dialogue, bad characters, bad everything. But if you give the audience the creeps and some good scares, they'll walk out happy. Or you can do everything else right in a horror movie. And if you don't give the audience that, they're going to walk out unhappy. Comedy is the same way to me. You can do everything wrong. It doesn't matter. If you make the audience laugh, nothing else matters in a comedy. Nothing. And if you do everything else right, but you fail to make the audience laugh, it don't matter what else you did right. And I sat there and I realized as the credits started to roll, I realized my lips never moved once. I didn't grin. I didn't smile. I certainly didn't laugh out loud. And so what are we left with? We are left with, I believe, a great idea for a show that is unfortunately a comedy that isn't funny. And if it's not going to make me laugh, why would I watch? And it's official. I'm tapped out. I'm done. I can't watch this show anymore. It's not that it's doing anything explicitly bad. It's not. They're not doing anything explicitly bad with it. It's just that you're not making me laugh. I am tuning into your comedy to laugh, and you're not making me laugh. And it's unfortunate that I had to pop on Disney Plus, Thor: Love and Thunder, to actually get some laughs. And that's not even supposed to be a huge comedy. So anyway, that's kind of my take on it. Again, nothing super bad about it. It's an interesting concept for an episode. Again, it just failed to make me laugh. And I'm done giving my time to a comedy that's not going to make me laugh. Anyway, Amy, you saw She-Hulk yesterday. What did you think about it?
I'm scared to say I kind of liked it. I'm not going to argue that it's a brilliant comedy. I'm not going to argue it's by any means, the best Marvel show on Disney Plus or even near the top, but I'm enjoying it. And I actually enjoyed this week more than I have some of the past weeks. It felt a little more congealed as a full show. I liked the wedding thing, and maybe that's just my own personal bias right now because I am currently in my own little wedding mode and spent way too much of my day yesterday on wedding TikTok. So I think some of that stuff just felt very fun, and even just like that awful peachy pink bridesmaids color they put on everyone that doesn't look good. Like those little details made me smile. Was I guffawing? No, but I was entertained. It felt like a charming mid-level sitcom to me. I also really just love, I do think their casting continues to be really solid. I love Patty Harrison. I just think she's hysterical in anything who played the bride. So generally for me, I enjoyed it. I completely understand. Yeah, you're probably not counting the days to this like you are for something like, Game of Thrones or Rings of Power. It's not that type of show. And I will die on the hill of, I think that's great. I think whether or not you like it, it's nice that we're getting some mid-level comedies. Do I wish the writing was a little sharper and there were more genuine laugh out loud moments? Sure, that'd be great. But ultimately, I find it charming. I find it entertaining. Tatiana Maslany continues to be great. This guy they're kind of bringing in is maybe a love interest, I think is really charming. So ultimately, there's enough there that I'm enjoying and finding entertaining that I'll stick it out for a couple more episodes.
And I'm sure there's probably a lot of people that feel the same way you do. Rob, you had a chance to see the episode. What do you think of it?
This was an episode I really actively disliked of all the episodes. And I'll tell you why, honestly. So the premise of this show, when she becomes Hulk, and the first episode, David Banner's like, you got to be, Bruce Banner's like, you have to be a superhero. You have the power now. And she's like, I don't have to be a superhero. Well, in this, and then she goes to a law firm and is going to deal with superhero issues. This story of the immortal man and the fact that
let's not go into story details.
This to me, the perfect story with which to put Jennifer Walters and her legal prowess front and center, because she's dealing with women's issues, herself, how women are dealt with in the workplace, how women are wronged by men, and if you're using superpowers and all that. I'm like, this would have been a perfect case for her to try. And what do? They completely remove her from that case. And they send her away to this wedding. And then what does this have to do? And at the wedding, she's abused. And it's like, I'm like, first of all, I don't believe anybody would. I didn't believe it. It had this episode had no verisimilitude. I didn't believe any of what I was watching. And also, John, like you said, it never made me laugh either. And the premise of what was going on in the law firm was ripe for exploration, for humor, for social commentary, for Jen Walters to confront various things in her own life. I thought it could have been great. And she wasn't even part of that. Like, why would you remove, this is a 9-episode show, and you took your main character out of the main premise of what the show is actually about, when it could have been a great episode of that show and the B story was much more interesting than the A story to me.
Well, guys, that difference of opinion. I mean, I've also read online some people really quite enjoyed the episode. Maybe you're one of those. Some people like myself didn't, whatever. Maybe you're one of those.
Oh, I will say I also really kind of liked, I thought it was going to feel too on the nose, but bringing in like the toxic male website that's like hating She-Hulk. I thought that was really well done.
Yeah, I mean, that's very interesting. Actually, they've been doing a lot of nods to the reality that we live in, sort of things. And that part was interesting. But again, it wasn't a part that made me laugh, unfortunately. Questions for you. How are you feeling? Maybe you're loving She-Hulk and you just can't wait for every episode. Maybe you're somebody you're like, yeah, you're on the fence about it. Maybe you're like me where you're officially tapping out and giving up on it. I don't know. Whatever you guys think about it, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys. With that down, let's move on now to main topic number 5. Amy, what is our 5th main topic today?
Some dude on the internet says, greetings from Saskatoon.
Ah, my old stomping grounds in Saskatoon.
Now that Matt Shakman is directing Fantastic Four, looks like they're going to start writing and casting soon. Just read that Jeff Kaplan and Ian Springer have been hired to write while everyone else looks for the actors themselves. Never heard of these writers before, so I'm not sure what to think. Penny for your thoughts on this bit of news. Thanks. And keep bringing on the filthy, y'all. Or brining on the filthy?
Brining on the
Brine on the filthy, baby.
Yeah, you
All right.
salted it.
Some dude on the internet, thank you so much for sending that in. Now, look, if you're one of those people who are hearing the names and going, who? Like from Guardians? You're not alone. I've never heard of either of these guys. And I went on to IMDb and to go down and run down their credits, expecting to find, I didn't realize they did that I didn't know. I think they wrote like 3 things since 2006, and I've never heard of any of them. Just because I haven't heard of any of them doesn't mean you haven't, but I'm just saying for me, I looked up and said, okay, never heard of any of them. So I think it's fair to say that these guys are relative unknowns in the business. These are the types of guys that Kevin Feige seems to know how to find and, in a very Aladdin way, a diamond in the rough and make something kind of cool out of them. Does that concern me that you're approaching a venerable IP like Fantastic Four with, let's call them what they are. They're kind of fresh. They're kind of, they haven't done a lot. They're pretty inexperienced and they're doing that well. Here's the catch. They're not just penning this Fantastic Four. They're penning the Fantastic Four path moving forward, and they're already developing Fantastic Four 2 and 3 and maybe more. This comes to us from the folks over at, I believe this was the Hollywood Reporter who wrote, with Matt Shakman, of course, who was the director on WandaVision, with Matt Shakman boarding as director, Marvel Studios has now found its writers to deliver the new Fantastic Four pick. Sources tell Deadline, that Jeff Kaplan and Ian Springer are on board to write the script for the film. Insiders add that the writing duo have actually been involved with the Fantastic Four for some time already, even before Shakman was tapped as director. And here's the interesting part, have been outlining where the next series of films will fit into the Marvel Cinematic Universe alongside Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige. So there's a couple of really interesting points in here. Number one, the one that we're all focusing on is Fantastic Four has its writers. Great. But number one, they've been on this for a while, before Shakman was ever announced. So they were probably still writing this when John Watts was probably still the director. So now whether that means a couple of months or whether that means they've been writing for 6 months and now we're just finding out that they're the ones doing it, who knows? I'm sure somebody will discover what the answer to that is at some point. But the most interesting thing to me on this is not only has Feige tapped these two relative unknowns and relatively inexperienced dudes, he's working with them developing the series of films. They're already writing the outlines for Fantastic Four 2, 3, maybe 4. So what is that one going to be called? FFF? But they're already developing the series and the franchise and how it fits into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And apparently Kevin Feige is so into these guys, he's working right alongside of them on this. Anyway, Rob, you heard about this, you see about this. I don't know if you were familiar with these two writers. What do you think about them being the writers, the shepherds, if you will, of Fantastic Four, and the fact that they're outlining multiple films in it?
Well, yeah, I mean, first when I heard this news, I was like, I think when I was looking at your notes, I'm like, what do you mean? There was no script? Like, there has to be a Fantastic Four script already for the first movie. I mean, I'm sure that's done, like you said, the article says they were hired a long time ago. That's why you don't usually a studio doesn't usually hire a director unless the director's like an auteur to develop the script alongside. Like this has to be down the road a bit. But the fact that they're now talking about multiple movies means they've done a good job, which I like to hear. And if Kevin Feige is working alongside these guys plotting where the Fantastic Four is going to go, it's like Marcus and McFeely, who wrote, they came on board. I mean, they had written things like Chronicles of Narnia and stuff like that, but they were great writers. They stay on board. They write multiple films, and we got some very satisfying movies from that.
Yes, we did.
So I find this to be exciting news that they're plotting multiple films. So we're going to get, I think, a gratifying storyline because, dude, I want this movie to be good. I love the Fantastic Four. I've been disappointed, 4 times now?
Yeah.
And
if you count Corman's.
Yeah, if you count Corman's. And I really am pulling for this movie. And I think it's going to be great. Hopefully, I hope springs eternal. And if these writers are on to develop more projects, that means they love the script. And that can only be a good thing. So I'm excited.
By the way, that one point that the viewer brought up that, the other people are going to be looking at, I don't buy that at all. I think they've got who they want to be. Fantastic Four already locked down.
Yeah. I do too.
Whether or not contracts are all officially signed and everything, that's another thing. But I think they probably already have an idea who their Fantastic Four are going to be.
Yeah, and if Shackman's being signed already and there's deals that are being made, I mean, he said, I'm not going to do Star Trek. I'm going to come over and do Fantastic Four, which means it's real. They're not sitting around, well, we're going to start. I mean, Feige has said he wants the director to have input into casting. But I'm sure that it goes beyond when they're casting this.
Well, yeah, but this is a unique situation where the director, John Watts, who was attached for like 2 years.
Yeah, probably was involved in casting.
Yeah, was probably involved in casting and now stepped away. Amy, you hear about this. What do you think about, we have a very major Marvel name in Fantastic Four. You're bringing now on these writers who, how long they've been on, who knows? But we now know about these writers who most of us never even heard about before. But not just that, they're plotting several of the movies and outlining these movies already. What stands out to you the most in all this?
I mean, I'm enthusiastic about it. Especially the fact that, like you said, they're bringing them on for a lot of this project. It seems to me like there is a plan here and there is talent here that they've seen. They wouldn't trust a property this big and that has, this many people hoping they finally get it right to people who don't know what they're doing or aren't at least a good fit for whatever tonally they're doing with this project. And honestly, I would personally rather have newer talent that they see something in sometimes than not always. Sometimes you get someone who's proven it's like, yeah, that's a great fit. That makes perfect sense. But especially, I think there is a bit of a Marvel vibe that we're falling into. And I hear people talking about like, oh, this isn't working in Marvel, that isn't working in Marvel. And I think bringing in new blood and bringing in people where it's kind of, okay, I don't know your bag of tricks. I can't picture exactly what you're going to do with this. I don't have sort of preconceived notions about what your style is. Could make for something really special.
Now, what if they make Fantastic Four a big family comedy? Like I saw somebody in the live chat put it, but think of the Baxter Building as The Office, and they do all Fantastic Four in a mockumentary documentary style. And You have Reed Richards goes, I don't know. Sue can sometimes be a little upset if you don't come in at time in the morning. I don't know, but that's probably not the direction they're going. But listen, the one thing I would say to people who get really worried about this is that don't forget there are names you know now that you didn't know before Kevin Feige got them, right? So I'm not saying I'm thrilled by the writer announcements, but I trust Kevin Feige. Until he shows otherwise, I trust him and his judgment. He's got an eye for talent. He knows the talent that'll work well with him. And let's see how that all works out. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about the new announced writers for Fantastic Four and the fact that they are already outlining the future films in the franchise? Do you feel good about that? Does it make you nervous? Do you have all the confidence in the world of Kevin Feige? Are you losing some of it? Whatever you guys feel, jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. Okay, guys, with that down, we are now going to move on to the most important part of the show, and that is hearing from you guys. We are now opening up the super chats. If you guys have a thought, theory, question, opinion that you'd like us to address, go ahead and fire that in now, but do so quickly because we only leave the super chats open for a couple of minutes. And by the way, guys, if you have a multiple part question, try to keep it in as few parts as possible because sometimes it's hard to get around to all those. All right. Before we get to those questions, though, we're going to take a second and thank a main sponsor of our show, my cell phone service provider, the good folks at Mint Mobile. Hey guys, we want to thank the sponsor of today's episode, Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile offers premium wireless starting at just $15 a month. And now for the plot twist. I'm just kidding, there isn't one. Seriously, Mint Mobile just has premium wireless service from $15 a month. There's no trapping you into a 2-year contract or opening the bill to find these crazy fees. There's no luring you in with free subscriptions to streaming services that you'll forget to cancel and be charged full price for. I used to dread opening my phone bill every month because every time I was opening it, it was like playing roulette. I never knew what the actual price was going to be, and it always seemed to get higher. But not with Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile gives you the best rate whether you're buying for one or a family, and at Mint, families start at 2 lines. All plans come with unlimited talk and text, plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. And if you're worried about the complication of switching things over, don't. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your phone number along with all your existing contacts. So guys, get premium wireless from just $15 a month and no unexpected plot twists at mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Seriously, you'll make your wallet very happy at mintmobile.com/Campea. And a huge thank you to our friends at Mint Mobile for being such a big sponsor of the John Campea Show and for giving me great cell phone service. All right, guys. With that down, let's get on to your thoughts, theories, and opinions. We're going to start, of course, with our beloved channel members. So, Ray, what do we got?
Okay, Carlos Casada writes, it's unlikely, but I would love it if K2SO was actually B2EMO? B2EMOs?
Oh, you're talking about the other one. Yeah, no.
Programming somehow transferred, like an upgrade from an Android to an iPhone. It would really up the emotional impact of K2SO's death.
That's not bad. Like that, the idea that Andor actually takes the personality programming of that droid and transfers it into K2SO. Although, when you listen to what K2SO's dialogue is, it doesn't sound like that at all. So, I mean, there might be wiggle room for them to do that. And you're right, it would kind of heighten the emotional impact of when K2SO dies. I know K2SO is not going to be in season 1. But man, after watching Rogue One again, I'm like, I want K2SO in this so bad. I forgot how good he is. So I don't know, but that's an interesting idea. Let's see if they go with that route. All right, what's next?
Dangerous Lee writes, guys, I've decided to ditch Rings of Power. It is far too slow for me. And with so much good content available, it was an easy choice. Andor is fire, fire, fire. Happy Thursday, everyone.
Andor is exceptional.
Yeah.
Andor is exceptional television. And if you liked episodes 1 through 3, wait till you see 4 through 6 because they're better. It's absolutely incredible. Listen, I get you on the slow pacing thing. That has been my big complaint. If I didn't watch episode 2, I might have tapped out of Rings of Power after just the first episode because I found it unbearably slow. I am still on board with it though, because to me, I said this last week, episode 4, Rings of Power is finally starting to look like the show I was hoping it would be. So I quite enjoyed episode 4 a lot. So I'm going to hope that that's the pattern we see continuing because it does. I mean, listen, this has been a slowly paced show. And it doesn't need to be breakneck speed, but it has been too slow. And I find that it's correcting itself. But Let's see what the future episodes have. So I don't blame you at all, man. I was almost there myself after one episode. All right, what's next?
Rafael Castillo writes, the first 3 episodes of Andor should have been one 90-minute episode. It felt like Act 1, 2, and 3 anyway.
Well, I mean, listen, that is exactly what Tony Gilroy said they're going to be. That this 12 episode season is kind of broken into 4 parts. That you got episodes 1 through 3, you got 4 through 6, you got 7 through 10, or 7 through 9, and then you have 10, 11, and 12. So you're right on the nose with your perception of that, because that's exactly how they've meant to be structured. But I totally like the fact that this, again, the smartest decision they made was to release 3 episodes at once. Because I think if they had just released the first episode, if all I had seen was the first episode, I said this the other day, I would have been like, But seeing all 3 of them in one chunk, I'm like, okay, I totally see what it is. And that was brilliant on their part. But your perception is right. They're being told in 3 episode chunks. All right, what's next?
Last one. Alan S. writes, hi, Campea crew. Is it just me, or am I the only one who gets bummed by no post-credit scenes for She-Hulk? I know they didn't enhance the story, but they were fun.
That's the other thing. Like the first 3 or 4 episodes of She-Hulk. First four, they all ended with post-credits. And listen, for better or worse on the episodes, the post-credit scenes were always fun. I always kind of liked it. It was especially important, like when you go through an episode that you didn't think was very good, but you kind of know you're going to get that mint on your pillow at the end. They just is something a little bit enjoyable, because they've done a good job with those post-credit scenes. And so it makes it especially bad when you go through an episode like this one that I really didn't like, but you're like, okay, let's the post-credit scene will put a smile on my face. Only that there's not even a post-credit scene there. So I don't know why you do the first 4 and then not do the next 2. Do either of you guys have a theory on that?
I have no idea why they didn't do that. And I've been disappointed twice in a row now.
Especially because it doesn't feel like, oh, you have to set up some next plot. They were really just like, a lot of times some of the stronger jokes of the episode, like the first episode post credit, I thought was the biggest laugh of the episode with Captain America.
Oh, that was great. So funny.
It was so funny.
Yeah. And it is definitely one complaint I have with this show. I want them to lean into that stuff. I want more fourth wall breaks. I want more, post credit scenes that just feel like silly little comedy buttons. I would love that.
Yeah, I mean, not this episode, but it was like the only fourth wall break we got was, oh yeah, I have to go
get my suits.
And that was it.
Like that was the only.
I want full Fleabag, just her like when someone's being dumb, just her being like.
It was almost like they forgot. Like
that'd be great.
Fourth wall break, we forgot. Just say she has to go get her suit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and where is her suit?
They still haven't shown it yet. Still haven't shown it.
They will. Last episode.
All right, let's get on now to our super chats you guys have been sending in. And by the way, yes, the super chats are now closed. So, Amy, what do we got?
Al Rensha says, are there any off-the-wall Fantastic Four villains you would like to see them fight? I think Annihilus or Super Skrull would make sense due to Secret Wars and Secret Invasion.
Are those really off the wall?
Yeah, I wouldn't say those are.
I wouldn't classify them as off the wall.
No, I would say those are major players. I like both of them, by the way. I think that introducing a Super Skrull, the Super Skrull after Secret Invasion is a great idea.
All right, what's next?
Edgar Magana says, I wish Marvel had a Marvel Knights film division for Punisher and Blade and such.
Well, I mean, there had been talk first of all, you talk of Midnight Suns and a lot of things like that. It's going to be interesting to see what their idea with that is. Honestly, I don't think they need it. And one of the things I don't think Marvel is looking to do is to create a schism or a dichotomy between, we've got Marvel, and then we've got this other brand of Marvel. I think they want, to them it is important. I'm not saying whether I agree or not, but to them it's important that Marvel is Marvel. I don't know, Rob, what do we say to that?
Well, I mean, I understand where he's going in the sense that I'm really curious how Marvel's going to deal with the supernatural. Mm-hmm. Like you got a Blade movie, vampires by definition kill human beings for food. You can't get really around that. And Blade, the Daywalker, is somebody that prevents vampires from doing this. And we saw in Morbius, are they going to get rid of the blood? Are they not going to lean in? How are they going to lean into the supernatural? We've got the werewolf by night coming. Werewolves kill people too. So are they going to try and shy away from the actual reality of what these mythical characters
It's a comedy, done? Rob. Don't you know that?
Yeah. So is American Werewolf in London. There's funny stuff in there, but people
true.
die. And I'm just curious, how are they going to handle? And I have to say, John, I'm really excited for it. I'm excited to see how is the MCU going to deal with the supernatural. Are they going to shy away from it, or are they going to lean into it? Because I mean, one of the great things about the beginning of that first Blade movie is they go to the blood rave.
Yeah.
You know, and then there's a great action scene where Blade shows up and starts killing fools. And
By the way, have you been watching this season of the newest season of What We Do in the Shadows?
oh yeah,
With the new club and the blood sprinklers.
it's so funny. But are they going to do that?
All right, what's next?
Andy said, got cut off yesterday. If I have a son, I'm naming him Carrie and passing on my birth name On, pronounced On, as his middle name. Before that, I'm
Wouldn't it be
Wayward
funny if
Son?
we still didn't have it? But we
Oh,
do.
no part
Did it-
2?
No, we do.
Okay.
going to court to legally change my surname to Wayward so I can call him my Carry On Wayward
I do have to
son.
tell you, Andy, I think we all kind of predicted where this was going.
Yeah,
Well,
yesterday.
Sam and
saw
Dean
that
be
one
proud
coming.
of me.
I
Didn't.
don't know
You
that part
got
2 was
me.
necessary. Don't know that part 2 of that one was necessary.
We're happy for the
appreciate
support,
it.
though.
But I mean, listen, for those of you who don't know, Supernatural, I think, had the greatest tradition ever in any television series, which was at the end of every season, at the final episode of each season, during the season finale, they would do their television stereotypical, previously on, but they would have the words come on screen, "The road so far." And they would do a previously on edit of basically summarizing the whole season, but they always did it to the music of Kansas's "Carry On My Wayward Son." And they never did that during the whole rest of the season, just the season finale, "The road so far," all the clips summarizing the series, "Carry on my wayward," right, the whole thing. And they started doing it every single year. It became one of the greatest traditions, to the point where when we got to the season finale of the final season, I knew it was going to happen. When that you can't tell. Can you see from there the bumps on my arm? Like I'm getting really emotional thinking about it. When those notes start playing, "Carry On My Wayward Son," during the series finale, not the season finale, but the series finale of Supernatural, I got really emotional. I could feel. I didn't outright sob, but I could feel the tears in my eyes welling up.
Wow.
I just knowing it was the last time. It was seriously one of the greatest traditions in any television series ever. I love that they did that. And that song will always be very special to me, even if the joke wasn't very good, Andy. All right, what's next?
James Argenta says, the Intelligentsia is a villain organization in the comics, often led by the leader. Other members include Egghead, MODOK, Mr. Sinister, and Pastepot Pete.
I wouldn't be surprised at all if they put a MODOK in this. You could totally do a MODOK in something like this. But, I mean, it'd be like Mr. Immortal. You'd be throwing the character away.
Right.
But I could totally see that if they have no plans for MODOK anyway, I could totally see them doing that here. What do you think?
I absolutely think that could happen. I mean, I'd love to see more of this. And look, Mr. Sinister is my favorite X-Men villain, even though his name is Mr. Sinister, but he's still one of my favorite.
He's one of the coolest villains
Yeah, I would
ever.
love him to show up in this show. I don't think he will, but it'd be cool if he did.
All right, what's next?
Jai CSC said, per your hype, decided to give Yellowstone a go. Tagging out after episode 3, this show is not for me, but interested to hear why you enjoy it so much.
It's The Godfather with on horseback. I mean, it is, I think it is the best show on television. I mean, it's not on right now, but I mean, I think it's, I listen, all due respect to Succession, I think it's a better show than Succession. But like any show, it's not going to be for everybody. I mean, no show is for everybody. There's shows like Rick and Morty that everybody loves. It just isn't for me. There's going to be shows that, people really dislike that I will like. I mean, and that's true of all of us. So if it didn't work for you, it didn't work for you. Lots of good stuff to watch. All right, what's next?
Jedediah Elias said, Everything Everywhere is still playing in one theater near me. Excited to revisit it this weekend. The third act is some of the best storytelling of 2022.
It is still to me. Now, I haven't seen Meet the Fablemans. I haven't seen Babylon. I haven't seen Amsterdam. There's a lot of the big hitters still coming out that I haven't had a chance to watch yet. So as of right now, Everything Everywhere All at Once, to me, is still the best film of the year.
Just for the originality. And it
God,
just
it's
feels
so
like it's going to
original.
be such a high watermark to beat this year for me.
But it's not just the bonkersness of it,
No.
right? Because when they go bonkers, I mean, she wasn't wrong when she said that Everything Everywhere All at Once is the best multiverse movie of the year. And it is. But even before they get to the multiverse stuff and the bonkersness of it, just the family with their, like, Ann and I were almost in tears laughing in the first 15 minutes of the movie, just the family and their laundromat business and their dynamic and the characters. And then it transitions like flawlessly into this bonkers, crazy, multiversal thing. And I'm just like, this is nuts. And the way they're able to pull it off, if I read it on paper before I saw the movie, I don't know that I would have thought it would work.
I literally I passed a house randomly that had 2 rocks that someone put like googly eyes on and like got emotional. I was like, how'd that movie pull that off?
That's so good.
Fantastic.
All right, what's next?
John Weilbacher said the newest episode of She-Hulk was the most confident this show has felt yet. I loved it, and it dropped some pretty big bombs for the MCU. Confident is a word I would agree with.
I don't disagree with that.
And I think that's why I like it.
I think it might have been misplaced confidence, but you're right. This is a show. I mean, again, what happens in the show, I have no issue with. Like, I don't mind if I just read the concept before watching the episode. I would have thought this could be a pretty interesting episode. To me, it just comes back to it not being funny. But that's the thing. Nothing is more subjective than humor, right? Nothing is more subjective than humor. I'll drop a joke once in a while here in the office, and none of these idiots that I surround myself with will laugh. It shows you not everybody has good humor.
And that happens quite often.
Yeah,
humor's really subjective.
Really subjective. Yeah, so, I mean, and that's why it's not working. If I was laughing, I would enjoy it. You are laughing. And I'm sure a lot of people are, because it's so subjective. So just because it's not clicking for me doesn't mean it can't click for you, or, Amy really enjoyed it as well. That's the best part, right? The best part about this format of entertainment is the fact that not all of it will work for you, but it can still work for a lot of other people. And that's when I say, like, when somebody writes and says they like something I don't like, I'm not just paying lip service. I'm like, that makes me happy to hear that somebody liked something that I didn't. Because that means they're getting joy and they're getting entertainment and they're getting something out of it. And I think that's great. It didn't do it for me, and that's okay. And some people see that as a bad thing. That's why you get these fucking morons out there. It's like, well, if you didn't like this and you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, you did like that? Well, then you're just stupid. Fuck off. You're an idiot. The beautiful thing about this form of entertainment, the beautiful thing about the art, is that there is something in it for somebody. And it may not be me, it may not be you, but there's a joke that gets cracked in a movie or show that made somebody laugh really hard, might have made their day. And that's why I love it. That's why when people write and said, I didn't like that, or like something that I hated, I'll go, like, somebody writes in and says they like the prequels. You know what my response is? I celebrate that. That's awesome. I mean, I didn't, and that's okay, but you did. So I'm glad you liked the episode, man. I'm sure you're not alone. All right, what's next?
Lorenzo Lycia with the almost $20 super chat. Thank you,
Lorenzo.
Hi, John. Just wanted to say I've been a fan for a good while now, since the AMC days.
Thank
also, I work at the Hollywood Bowl serving dinner in the box seats. The day you went to go see John Williams, I was super bummed because
And then I do not see part 2.
Okay,
no.
Wasn't there.
I'm going to guess that Lorenzo was not our server that day. Dude, listen, I'll tell you what. I got spoiled because Ann and I would go to the Hollywood Bowl, especially every year for the John Williams Maestro of the Movies concert, right? And then, damn it, our friend Cliff Stevenson, one year ruined it because he invited me to come along. Ann and I already had tickets, but he had extra ticket for the day before the show we were going to. So I'm like, I get to see John Williams twice this weekend? Great. So he invites me to come, but the bastard had the box seats where you get your own little 4 walls and 2 tables there, and the waiter's bringing your food. And I'll tell you something, once that happens, it kind of ruins you. And it's like you turn around and look back at the other seats, and you're like, I don't want to go back there now. It's like, what? I can't remember what was it. Was it Seinfeld when somebody sat in first class for the first time? They're like, I don't want to go back there anymore. So ever since then, I've convinced Ann to let us save up for a bit and break our bank. And every year we've gone to John Williams since we get those seats, because I just love it so much. But yeah, one of the best parts is you order food, they bring food right to your table as you're sitting there enjoying John Williams. It's a really good experience. If you guys get the opportunity to, if you're ever in LA, go see a show at the Hollywood Bowl. It almost doesn't matter what the show is. It's such a great venue.
Or you can do the Amy experience where you're like sitting on the grass drinking rum out of a vitamin water bottle. That's also recommend.
It's funny because she does the same thing at the bus stop.
And on the show.
and on the show.
I'm living life at the Amy Newman experience, let me tell you.
All right, what's next?
Highly recommend. Zishan said, I first watched Avatar on a plane in 2010. Tomorrow I will be watching it at AMC Lincoln Square IMAX, the largest screen in the U.S.
Wow.
Small upgrade.
That's that's going to be a much different experience than watching it on the plane. You know what? I realized today too. I haven't got my tickets to go see this, but I'm going to. Maybe I'll have to. Well, I can't do it. Maybe Saturday afternoon. Anne's doing some volunteering this Saturday, so we got plans in the evening. But I might go see a matinee of it because I really listen. I'm not a huge Avatar advocate, but I really do enjoy the movie, and it is a visual spectacle. So I mean, it's the way to see it.
I do too. I mean, I really enjoy the film, and it is a visual spectacle, and I'm going to go see it this weekend. I have tickets already.
Yeah, I'll have to get mine. All right, what's next?
Sam Fisher said, so no She-Hulk after show then?
No, I can officially say it now. We are no longer doing She-Hulk after shows. It's I just listen. People watch after shows to come in and celebrate, the show they watch. And there's no what fun would it be like if I'm sure there's a lot of our viewers who are enjoying She-Hulk, and that's great, but you're not going to have any fun watching an after show with me or Rob or whatever, just sitting there going, we didn't like it. I mean, what fun is that to watch as an after show? So there's really no point in us doing it. So we're now just going to focus on Andor, Rings of Power, and House of the Dragon. So that's what we're going to do.
It's not fun hearing people talk about shows they don't like, and yet I still have to do the Rings of Power.
and you do the thing.
There are
right,
things
what's
to
next?
recommend about it. Anubis Genocide said, hi, John and crew. Loved Andor, getting major Mask of Zorro Gattaca vibes from the relationship between Andor and Skarsgård's character. Also, I need the show's full soundtrack released soon.
Well, Rob, you mentioned to me the other day yourself, like one of the big standout things of Andor is the music. The music is incredible.
It is incredible, and it's a different vibe. Just like the show's a different vibe for a Star Wars show or Star Wars entertainment, the music is, again, it's a departure. Like, I thought the music for Mandalorian was great. Again, a departure, yet still, and same with this show. I love the fact that they're giving these shows musical identities of their own. And I think that's really, really important. Whereas, one of the things about Kenobi, I wanted more of the traditional Star Wars music, and there wasn't a lot of that. But I really love the soundtracks of this, or the music of these 3 episodes. Great.
And if you think you like Stellan Skarsgård's character now, wait till after next week. His characters become so much more rich. It's just nuts. All right. Anyway, what's next?
Collins E says, thanks for the recommendation, RMB. I'm going to Barnes & Noble over my lunch break to pick up the Paul Tremblay book.
I just warn you.
Is that the cabin one?
Yeah, I just warn you, when you start reading, don't start reading it if you're on your lunch break. Wait till you get home, because you're going to be distracted for the
Rob,
rest of
stop
the day.
trying to tell people not to read.
Just saying. I'm just saying, because it's when
He's
I
telling them when to
I
read.
read a lot. When I get obsessed with a book, I got a book once, James Lee Burke's In the Electric Mist with Confederate Dead, and I got it in Seattle, and I was driving back to L.A. I literally had
Read
to
it
keep
while he was
stopping.
driving.
He read it
the
while he
book.
was trying.
I just stopped doing that. I stopped every couple hours at rest areas or wherever. When I got to Santa Barbara, I went and sat on the beach. I mean, I was so obsessed with this book. This book is like that. You're going to want to read it in one sitting.
I think, I'll probably pick up the audiobook of it and just when I'm on the treadmill and get
It's funny. I was thinking about the driving in here, if there is one, because I would listen to that. I mean, I don't dig audiobooks, but I would have done, because I want to hear the story again.
All right, what's next?
Blake62 said, I'm going to have to sit through all 9 of these She-Hulk shorts to see Daredevil, aren't I?
Yeah, and here's the thing. Like, I saw somebody in the live chat earlier, right, and say, John, you're topping out, but you're not going to stick around for the Daredevil thing? It's like, what's that going to do? Matt's going to show up, hi, I'm Daredevil, and then the episode's going to end, and he's not in it anymore. So, I mean, look, I'm not going to lie. Maybe if somebody tells me one of the episodes, hey, this is the one with Daredevil, I'm tapped out of the show. But
What if
I'd
they
be lying.
smash?
What's that?
What if they smash?
Well, they're not going to show it, so it's not R-rated. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I will probably then load up Disney Plus and watch the episode of these and just out of curiosity, but let's not pretend like that's going to make the show any better.
What if I write a fan fiction where they smash? Will you read that?
not going to lie and say no, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
I'll read it.
Okay. You'll read it in one sitting.
Yes,
read
I
it
will.
one sitting.
I promise you. I promise you I will.
It's going to become the next 50 Shades of Grey. All right. What's
Don't
next?
laugh. That's how it started.
That is
Fanfic.
exactly.
My Comic Planet said, man, poor Sir Kristen Cole was just asking for his helmet back. LOL.
Oh, yeah, that's all it was. It's just a big misunderstanding. Just a big misunderstanding. Boy, that dude went from honorable to dick real fast. And that's one of the great things about the Game of Thrones world is that this stuff, because guess what? That happens in the real world. And so it's, oh, God, I'm loving this show so much. House of the Dragon is so freaking good. All right, what's
We'll be
next?
back.
Wayne Edwards with the $20 super
Thank you,
chat.
Wayne Edwards.
Wayne. Has anyone heard of a podcast called Blockbuster? It is a biopic style series that covers a big director each season. The first season covers George Lucas. The second covers James Cameron.
I have never heard of it. I'd be really curious to know who does it.
Yeah,
Sounds cool.
that sounds good.
Yeah, that sounds like a
listen to
really
that.
neat idea. All right, what's next?
We got Jack Quick. Never heard your guys' thoughts on Barbarian. I personally loved it and thought it was hilarious. One of my favorites of the year.
Well, Taylor loved it.
I loved it.
I loved it.
All right.
I left like, I don't know how I feel about this. And then one of those, I feel like some movies, I either think every time I think about it, I like it a little more or a little less. And this was a little more for me. Like every time I think about it, I'm just like, damn, that was so scary. That was such a, I feel like almost up there with Everything Everywhere for me of just, this was a freaking ride of a movie kind of movie.
It also plays with structure in a really interesting way. And I think that it's hard to do that in any kind of a film. And it's unexpected when it happens. It kind of, it serves to sort of, wouldn't you say, it kept you're like suddenly going, wait, what?
It actually gave me goosebumps a couple times just for pure, like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I can't remember the last time a movie made me feel that way. Even more, and I will say more so than Everything Everywhere, because it wasn't like, okay, we're doing something crazy in the story. It was almost like, was there a mistake? What's happening?
Right,
In a way
right.
that really was just
subvert
so
your
cool.
expectations, John.
All right, what's next?
No. Raymond Verada says the new Star Trek Lower Decks episode is a must for Filipino Trekkies. No spoilers, but it's about Rutherford, voiced by Eugene Cordero, the cousin in Easter Sunday, and he builds something Filipino.
Oh, okay. I have no interest in the show whatsoever because I saw like the trailers for it. I'm like, this looks really dumb, but I'll check that out. I'll be curious to check that out. It's too bad. Yeah, Easter Sunday was terrible, unfortunately, but I will check that out because I liked everybody in it. So thank you for putting that on my. And you know what? By the way, to be fair, I've heard from some people that actually Lower Decks is actually pretty good. Do you watch it regularly?
I catch it.
You catch
I
it?
catch up with it.
Yeah, I've heard some okay things about it. To be fair, again, it doesn't look like it's for me, but I've heard some okay things about it.
I mean, Mike McMahon, the creator, was known for coming up with, like, he was tweeting about if there was a season 8 of Next Generation, what would it be? And it's pretty clever. And as far as it goes, it is funny. It's just not for me. It's not the kind of Star Trek. To me, it's just another way that Star Trek itself is being subverted. But hey, it's all things to all people, right?
All right, what's next?
Samuel said, John, did you see Barbarian?
No, I mean, I told the story before. I was invited months before it came out to go see an advanced screening of it.
Multiple times.
Multiple times. The first day, it ended up being the same day we were celebrating Ray's birthday. The second time I was invited out to the studio to go see it, something else was going on in my life. And then the weekend that it was opening in theaters, I was out of town. And for those of you guys who've watched me for a long time, if I cannot see a movie by the latest, the weekend that it opens, I don't talk about it. And then that passed, since I couldn't talk about it or review it, I kind of moved on. And then Ann and I had bought tickets to go see it. And then the night came that we were going to go see it and she got sick. So we didn't go that night. And then we had tickets for another night to go see it, but Rings of Power was on and like, I'm not skipping Rings of Power. So that was, and so it was just like, nope. And I'm sitting here, still have never seen it. So I'm gonna have to watch it sometime this week, I think. All right, what's next?
Zishan says the re-release of the biggest movie of all time has a reputation of being the GOAT. Theater experience is going to make more than a couple million.
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
I
listen,
thought
they
you were starting to
re-released.
sing.
Listen, one of the great sci-fi movies of all time is Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and they re-released that in theaters, and I think it made like $4 million. Now, I think Avatar can make more than that. But like some people, like I saw some people throwing around the number like 40 million and stuff like that. It's like, no, it's not going to do. I mean, if it does, that's awesome. I'll be super happy for it. And listen, one of the other things it's got working for it, not a lot out there right now.
Yeah.
I mean, you can either go watch Top Gun Maverick for the 18th time. You can go watch The Woman King.
Yeah.
And you got Don't Worry Darling, but with all the drama with it, I mean, there are some other movies you could go see, but there's not a lot of options out there. So that might work in Avatar's benefit as well. All right, what's next?
Harv's K says Ms. Marvel had such a great ensemble cast. It'll be a shame if they can't come back for season 2. You can't fit them all in a Marvels or Young Avengers movie, at least in any meaningful way.
You know what, Harvs? You raise a really, really good point. I really like Milani as Ms. Marvel. She was great. I thought she was charming and wonderful. But at least 50% of my love of that show came from the ensemble cast.
I agree with you, man.
Particularly the family. And so I wonder, I'm not doubting, I'm just saying I wonder, how will I like the character separate from that incredible family and supporting cast? And the answer, I don't know right now. I have a lot of faith in it, but I mean, if there was any reason to bring back a second season of that show, that's it. It's the family, it's the ensemble cast. What do you think?
No, I completely agree with you. I thought that it was charming. I mean, and the family played such an integral part to her development. I mean, the fact that you had a father and a mother that really nurtured her and cared about her and played an active role in who she was becoming. I thought that was a big, big part of that story. I mean, the whole idea of family, and it was really well done.
Yeah, super well done. All right, what's next?
Luis Enrique de la Peña said over under 15%, Andor will have a Darth Vader or Leia cameo.
Well, they did say Tony Gilroy said that this is not going to have any fan service. I would hope. I mean, obviously, Leia is part of the rebellion.
Yeah.
And maybe Jimmy Smits, there's the rebellion thing going on, but since this is the birth of all that, I would really hope. I mean, look, I wouldn't mind seeing the Emperor addressing the Senate or something like that.
Right.
But I hope they shy away from Vader, and I hope they shy away from Leia. I
think
really
they
do.
will. I would say under on that.
Yeah, I mean, look, Gilroy, we were just talking about this the other day. Gilroy mentioned that my mandate was no fan service. I am only putting a character in this if it is absolutely essential to the story of Andor. So obviously we're going to get Mon Mothma and we're going to get Saw Gerrera because to him, those were integral parts of the story. They are characters. Leia at this point, remember, this is 5 years before the events of the Battle of Yavin, right? So Leia's going to be significantly younger than even what we saw her in Rogue One. There is no narrative reason why you need to have Vader in this. Vader would not play a prominent role in the formation of this nobody guy who's about to join the rebellion. So maybe a quick, like looking up at a holovid and seeing the Emperor addressing the Senate or something, maybe something like that. But I don't see him doing any of these quick fan service cameos.
No, but I do see whether it's in season 1 or season 1's done, but season 2, I could see that as a result of the rebellion beginning its activities, that the Emperor is going to close his fist on the systems, he making it more difficult and upping the stakes, maybe in season 2 or something. I want to see a great Nuremberg rally speech from Palpatine.
Now, somebody in the live chat is saying, well, John, we're not talking about, we're talking about, it was Superman Baby. I'm not calling him that. That's his name in the live chat. Superman Baby says, we're talking about cameos, John, not an actual part. That is fan service. Like a quick, hey, everybody, remember me? I'm Darth Vader. Look at my lightsaber.
Killer Darth Vader impression, by the way.
And wasn't that great?
Why does it sound like he's
I thought James Earl Jones walked in.
Why is he going to start singing "Hello, My Baby"? Like, hey, everybody, it's me, Darth Vader.
But Tony Gilroy, the thing is, Tony Gilroy specifically said he is not putting anybody in there unless it's essential to his story. And that I think was Tony Gilroy saying, no, we're not just going to have these men. Look, everybody, recognize him. Quick cameo. Okay. I think Tony Gilroy was pretty explicit about that. So no, I'm not expecting that. I think the chances are pretty low.
John, what do you think about Bor Gullet showing up in this?
Bor Gullet lies, deceit. Bor Gullet will know.
There you go.
That's the worst part of Rogue One was that stupid. Oh, it was the stupidest part.
You got that one.
What's next?
Andy said Brilliance should totally play the X-Men theme.
Oh my God, that would be so appropriate. And now, for those of you who know what we're talking about, was it today's show or was it yesterday's show? Will Smith's new movie is called Brilliance. And when you read the synopsis of it, it's totally X-Men. 1% of the population has superpowers, and the government has an agency to overlook them. And one of them is trying to cause a civil war in the world. It's like, yeah, it's totally X-Men. If he comes out and they do that little thing like they did in Ms. Marvel, that would be pretty funny. All right, what's next?
Matt Sanders with the almost $20 super chat.
Thank you, Matt.
Tim, that Star Wars name was so normal it threw me off. Unless it's spelled Tim or something like that. Also, screw Tim. It is Tim with 2 M's. I watched with subtitles, and I immediately was like, what guy like showed up hungover, and they were like, all right, did everyone bring their list of Star Wars names to the writer's room today? And he's like,
Yeah, go ahead.
fucking Tim, but 2 M's.
But with 2 M's.
All I could think of was the Holy Grail. There are
Yes.
some who call me Tim.
Yeah, no, guys, you see, it's got a second M. But it's not where you think. That's exactly what he should have said. Totally should have said
It
that.
should have been with a Y at least. I feel like that would have.
Maybe it's short for some Star Wars word.
Yeah, maybe.
You
I mean,
know.
we do have Luke. Luke's out there.
Right.
All
That's
right.
true.
All right, what's next?
Oh, there you go.
Sam Fisher said cop mandatory retirement ages range from 55 to 65. So
I mean, yeah. So he could
Okay.
he could be a detective now. He could be, or he's retired and he's a private investigator now, and he's got to go to Beverly Hills to solve a crime.
Yeah,
or,
something drags him back in.
Yeah.
yeah, every time
Family.
they drag me.
Family
back in.
dress.
Or maybe him and
Family.
his old buddies, they created an agency themselves. I mean, I don't know. I'm just making.
We're
this up.
cops.
You're cops. All right, what's next?
Al Rencha says, have you seen the R-rated Doctor Strange 2 deleted scene where Wanda decapitates a soldier at a Carmitage and then uses their body to fight everybody? Also, this gives me hope of R-rated content in the MCU.
I saw that on Twitter.
I did not.
There was a
I
clip I
didn't,
saw
yeah.
on Twitter today. I mean, I can understand. It was cool. It was very Sam Raimi. It's very Sam Raimi.
Yeah, it sounds fun.
Yeah, it was fun. I was like, you could have done that.
But ultimately, would that scene have made the movie? Any better?
That's very unlike the Scarlet we've been knowing. Like to do that to like actually use someone's body.
Reed Richards spaghetti.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
yeah,
buy
that was
it.
mean.
But this is just
Poor
Tim from the Tim, another Tim that she would do that.
He had it
to.
coming.
I would have loved that though, because I do think the strength of that movie was like the Sam Raimi horror weirdness. I wish they leaned into that harder.
Yeah, but if it was going to get them an R,
Yeah.
then you pull back. See, to me, that doesn't tell me that there's a future for. I'm sure there's probably been other Marvel things that the writers have had or the directors did that they realized, oh, we got to cut that out, whatever. I'm sure it isn't a first. I'm sure it's not a first. All right, what's next?
Matt Boyle says, I hope we see more of Fiona Shaw's character in Andor, who plays Cassian's adoptive mother. Her speech at the end of episode 3, I love it.
The reason I believe that we're going to see more of her is because with the flashbacks, I don't think the purpose of the flashbacks was just for a narrative payoff in that one episode. I think those flashbacks are showing a deepening bond, and I think bad things might happen to her moving forward. And so I think we're going to see more of her. I hope they do at any rate. Otherwise, investing all that time in the flashbacks of showing how they met and everything, to me, that's laying narrative groundwork for payoff later. So my guess would be that we will. I don't know. What do you think?
I think we probably will because she is such a great actress. And I think something like you said probably will happen to her. That's another inciting kind of an incident that could push him further into wherever he's going.
All right. What's next?
Andy said, from what I gathered from the reviews of Don't Worry, Darling, it sounds like Olivia Wilde chose styles over substance. Get out of my super chat.
Oh boy.
It is curious though, because look, think what you will, and obviously there's gonna be a wide variety of thoughts on Shia LaBeouf. But think what you will. I contend he might be a top 15 actor in the world right now. Yeah, I just really think he's that good of an actor. And you need to replace him. Let's not go into the drama of all that. But for whatever reason, he's not there anymore. You got to replace him. Instead of going out and getting, say, another top 30 whatever actor in the world to play the role, you go out and get Harry Styles, who, granted, there's box office upside to that. There is box office upside to that. But the word we're hearing from this, and I haven't seen it, so I cannot say this definitively, but what we've read in a lot of the reviews people saw at the festivals was Styles is not very good in it. And it just makes you wonder about that decision. Like, again, if you were going from somebody like Tim, played this role, gone, okay, well, let's get Harry Styles. He's got a big name recognition. He's a developing movie guy. He's going to bring a lot of attention to the movie. That makes sense. But you go from somebody who I argue is maybe a top 15 actor in the world and then try to replace that with somebody who's not. It's an interesting choice.
Well, and seeing, I saw a clip from this that was going around, and I mean, you've got some really top tier actors working in this film. And I feel like if you got a guy who could really nail this, you know, with Florence Pugh, with Chris Pine, and if you filled out that third spot with someone fantastic, it could at least be like the script was okay, but everyone acts the shit out of it. Suddenly I'm more interested.
Yeah.
You know, John, it was really interesting. Olivia Wilde was on Stephen Colbert. And mad props to Stephen Colbert, who gave her props for directing Booksmart and all that. But he addresses this directly to her. And it's really interesting to watch her response.
Really?
Yeah. I would suggest everybody go on YouTube and watch the clip. Just Olivia Wilde, Stephen Colbert, they talk about Shia LaBeouf.
I would be okay.
It's intriguing.
All right. I'm going to have to do that as soon as we're done. All right. What's next?
Suthius said, I still think the show is great. Thoroughly enjoying it. The characters are working for me, and Titania is awesome.
I can't with Titania. not like, no, listen, I get it. This is not unusual for a lot of sitcoms. Everybody other than your prime characters are very one-dimensional, whatever characters. Again, even if you go into something like The Office, right? Creed is Creed. I mean, Creed is just always Creed. Angela is always Angela. Like, it's just, it is what it is. And so when you get characters like Titania, or you get characters like Madison, or you get characters, but Titania is supposed to be your kind of through string here. I wish she was not such an obvious idiot.
Oh, I think he was saying Tatiana Maslany's great. I misread that.
Oh, well, Tatiana is,
yes,
listen,
she's fantastic. That's
Tatiana
on me.
is carrying the show. I mean, honestly, she is, because the humor hasn't been there for me. Tatiana Maslany has put that show on her shoulders, and she is strictly carrying that show.
I was definitely watching it thinking, like, I hope the fact that people aren't loving this show does not negatively impact her career, because she really deserves to be working.
Oh, she's an
constantly.
Emmy award-winning,
she's
world-class
phenomenal.
actress. And good Canadian kid, by the way. All right, what's next?
My Comic Planet with the almost $20
Thank
super
you, My
chat.
Comic Planet. Appreciate that, man.
Thank you. James Cameron says he clashed with the studio over decisions with Avatar. He told the studio, this building we're meeting in, this new $500 million complex on your lot, Titanic paid for that, so I get to do this. That's balls.
Yeah, well, actually, you missed the show like a couple days ago. I think on Monday's show, we made an entire topic out of that and discussed that ad nauseum. But yeah, listen, I love that he did it, but recognizing he is one of maybe two people in the world who can do that, right? Other directors can't do that. I don't even think Christopher Nolan can do that. I don't even think Quentin Tarantino can do that. I think if your last name is Spielberg or Cameron.
Yeah, if you bought a wing of a studio.
I mean, no, he paid for their studio.
Yeah.
I mean, his movie is, I mean, at the time, Titanic was the #1 box office movie in the world. I think it still sits at number 3. I think it still sits at number 3 as the biggest box office film of all time. And so he can do that because you have that clout. But only James Cameron has made 2 of the 3 biggest box office films in history. And only Spielberg is the greatest of all time. So, I mean, I don't think there's many people who can have that, but good on James for doing it. All right, what's next?
Sam Fisher said, Christian Harloff said Andor felt Blade Runner, and since he said that, I totally see it.
I can listen, tone-wise, I can say I see a little bit of Blade Runner in it. Yep, I'm not a huge fan of Blade Runner, but the tone of it, it's a little brighter, but the tone of it, yeah, I think I can agree with Christian on that.
And the city streets, the grunginess of it, it's similar to the city streets of Blade Runner. It's just in Blade Runner, it was always dark and it rained all the time.
It's funny, Christian texted me this morning, and we were talking about, another show, right? But again, we were talking about tone. of that show. I think tone is something that Christian really appreciates about a show. And so it doesn't surprise me that he saw that and then he instantly made that connection to Blade Runner. All right, what's next?
Tim Platt said, "Yay, Star Wars put my name in something. Oh no, he sucks." It's okay. It's okay.
no,
You're
he
Tim with
sucks.
one M.
I love that. Oh no, he sucks. Listen, I will say the one thing about what I did like about it was they even show that even though he's a small character with a limited role to play
And a dumb name.
and a dumb name.
2M Tim.
With the 2M.
The 1M Tim's
The
great. We
proper
love you,
Tims
Tim.
Spell it like you do, Tim.
No worries.
But they showed there were multiple layers to him, right? Like we're emotional beings. He got emotionally hurt. He felt threatened. He did who among us haven't done something stupid when in an emotional state? But
Three times a day, John.
yeah, 3 times at least. But he clearly cares for her. He doesn't want bad things to happen to anybody. I mean, so I like that even in that they gave multiple layers to the character, even though, oh no, he sucks. Yeah, I love that. That was the best comment of the day, Tim. You get comment of the day. All right, what's next?
Michael Serta with the 1999
Thank you,
super
Michael.
chat.
Incredibly generous, man.
Classic film a classic film I feel doesn't get talked about enough is 12 Angry Men.
buddy.
Awesome.
Sidney Lumet's direction is near perfect and is a great gateway film for those who have trouble sitting through a black and white film.
It's one of those movies. Here's what 12 Angry Men is. It is one of those movies that I have often heard referenced that if you want to learn filmmaking, that's one of the films you should watch. Because it like everything from dialogue, character dynamic, all that kind of stuff. It is a cornerstone movie, I think, of anybody who wants to be a student of film has to watch 12 Angry Men. And when you read a lot of books by directors, this movie is always brought up. Like I can't think of one that I've read, and I've read 3 or 4 of them. I think every single one of them that I've got, they've all referenced that movie.
Oh, yeah.
It's just one of those pivotal ones, Rob.
I could say a funny story about that. So I was at leadership camp between junior and senior year in high school, summer camp, where student leaders were sent to learn leadership skills.
And smoke weed.
No weed smoking, but they were showing this movie, and I'd never seen it before. And there was a girl, I will not use her name. This girl was trying to make out with me. And
Well, you can't use your name because it's make-believe, Rob.
no, it's not make-believe. But here's the thing. She got very mad because I was so involved. This movie is so engrossing. Like when you're watching it, it's so engrossing. And I don't make out movies. I never do. You know, why I got to watch the movie. But this girl didn't know that about me. And I had such a vivid memory because I was so locked into this movie. It's so good and so compelling that I was ignoring a very attractive
Very
woman.
real.
who
Again, are
actually
you
Existing
sure
woman.
there was no weed smoking?
no weed smoking,
Okay.
but she was from Paulsbo. I'll tell you that. And she was a beauty queen in Paulsbo. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, but those Paulsbo beauty queens, you know.
Yeah, not
She was
exactly Burbank beauty queens. Just throw that. All right, what's next?
Lorenzo Lycia said, oh, did we find more of a super chat?
Yeah, it's just way up here. So
All right.
Wow.
Took the day off work. Oh, that was when you went to the bowl.
Okay, right.
So Lorenzo had taken the day off work. Also found out that night Kevin Feige was eating dinner in the front row too. Would have loved to meet you, Anne and Rob. Hope you have an amazing day.
You know, it's funny because I took you
Black Panther.
I took you to Black Panther.
Dude, those seats were dope.
You and Elizabeth came with me and Ann. And it was such a fun night too, because whenever we go to the Hollywood Bowl, obviously because we're usually at the Hollywood Bowl for movie things, whether it's Black Panther in concert, John Williams Maestro with the movies, so there's a lot of movie fans there. And so it's always great to go there because we always get approached by so many people. That night we got approached by a bunch of people who watch the show, and it's always a fun time. So listen, I always talk about when I'm going to go to the Hollywood Bowl because I get so excited about it. So keep your eyes open for us and let us know what sections you'll be taking care of.
And the sound, I have to say, at John Williams, people forget, but the sound in that venue, you can hear
awesome.
every instrument. It's gorgeous. It's
even
almost
if you're
like being in
further
a
back,
Disney concert.
I mean,
hall.
it's
Yep.
even further back. There's really not a bad seat in the house.
What piece was it at this year's Maestro of the Movies where, what's her name, the lead violinist?
Was it the Fiddler on the Roof?
Was it the Fiddler on the Roof one?
And Schindler's List.
Okay, it was the Fiddler on the Roof piece.
Unbelievable.
Because this girl gets up. She's the lead violinist, and they have a portion of the concert where John Williams says this is going to be performed by our number one seat So she gets up and stands up while the whole orchestra's playing. And I'm getting chills thinking about it. She's doing this Fiddler on the Roof piece. And Slash of Guns N' Roses himself couldn't do better. She ripped
Oh yeah.
on this. She, like, for 3 minutes, rips on this Fiddler on the Roof piece. And, like, Soul was there with me that night. And, like, Soul, his girlfriend, me and Ann, and, like, Soul and I just turned to each other and was like, she's a fucking rock star.
Dude.
She just starts wailing on this thing. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, this girl is so good.
She was so good. And then I don't know if John Williams said this because he kept looking over and marveling at her as well. But then the way he put it, he said, and she said something to him. And I don't know if they played this off or it was like this. He said that she's asking if she can play Schindler's List. And then she followed it up.
Schindler's
and
List,
dude, I got a tear in my eye because that piece of music, you can't not. I mean, incredible. She's an
amazing,
incredible player.
All right, what's next?
You're Giorgio?
Sure, you're Giorgio. My brain just said nope. Did I miss something? How did all the people in the MCU now have random powers?
Because that's the MCU now. I've been telling you guys this for a long time. Like, every 7-Eleven has 8 superheroes on the roof patrolling for crime. Like, there's nothing special about somebody with superpowers in that world anymore. And they're all just coming out of the woodwork now.
Like, percentage-wise in the MCU, how many people would you say have powers? Because I feel like that's never really addressed.
But they didn't even explain how Titanium even got her powers, right?
I think it was addressed.
No, they just explain why she rampaged through the courtroom.
Sure.
Let's put it this way. It's common enough now that a guy falls 40 stories from a building through a car, gets up and walks away, and people go, oh, all right.
Hang on, I'll be right back.
There you go. I mean,
Is it like being a lefty? Like, what are we talking?
yeah. So it's not, I don't think it's like 1%, 1 out of every 100 people. But again, it is common enough that nobody in the world of the MCU is amazed anymore. Like, it's just a Tuesday now.
Maybe that's why Arishem the Judge being in the skies of Earth. No one cares.
Nobody talks about it.
Whatever.
It's like, oh, okay, whatever. It's a Tuesday. So yeah, that's one of the problems with the MCU right now.
I just crunched the numbers right now. It's 67.85% of people in the MCU have superpowers.
That's ridiculous.
That can't be right.
That's a scientific
I don't think you did
thing,
math
Brad.
right.
Really good at math.
I don't know.
Is that a Pew sampling?
He is holding his phone calculator, so I'm inclined to believe him.
All right, what's next?
He's texting.
Oh, shit. Okay. Ben, he just texted me, believe me, bitch. Ben Rainier with the $20 super
Thank
chat.
you, Ben.
Just want to say thank you for all the great content. Your team is awesome. And RIP to She-Hulk after show. Does this mean no more cake pops?
Oh yeah, that's right. Because
Oh my God, I really am
I'll talk about
texting you.
She-Hulk every goddamn week if I get a cake pop.
Oh yeah, I actually have more cake pops on the way because spooky season's right around the corner.
It is.
just they shouldn't be She-Hulk ones though. They're gonna have
Those
to move on
cake
to.
pops were so
They were
good.
very, very, very good.
Oh my God.
Well, first of all, thank you, Ben, and thank you for being here. Like, you've been a part of our show for a long time, and thank you so much for that. But listen, we could keep doing the She-Hulk after show. It's just like, I want to give things to our audience that our audience wants to see, and nobody wants to see doing an after show about a show that you probably love, and just having us whine about it. So that's why I decided not to do it. All right, thanks a lot for that, Ben. What's next?
Joshua Jones says, Andor episodes kicked ass. Can't wait for more. I will give She-Hulk props for the instant fourth wall break, saying, it's a filler episode.
I mean, there is some self-aware stuff in there. Listen, at the end of the day, when She-Hulk's in the rearview mirror and we look back on it, there are a number of things I think the show did well. First of all, I still think the concept of the show is great. Tatiana Maslany is fantastic in it. There have been moments, like episode 1 with Hulk, I thought was a great episode.
Yeah.
Things they've done well, but yeah, not really.
I'm still gonna watch it just because it's 20-some minutes.
And
Just
there's
to
not
throw
many
it on.
left.
Yeah.
Do
I
you
know
think
what
when
you
they're
mean.
all out, you'd go back and check them out or no?
That's a good question. Here's the problem. There's so much new content coming out all the time. There's not a lot of time in the day to go. Like, I've always wanted to go back and get caught up on Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
I never
should.
have had the chance. Never had the chance. Because there's always new stuff coming out that I need to keep up with. And so, I don't know. I'd like to think I would, but I don't know that I ever will. But I will probably watch the Daredevil episode.
I do feel like it's a show people would be more charmed by if it was released in a big chunk. I do think there
Probably.
is something about the week to week that makes it feel like, all right, here we. Oh, this was
That's why
just
I
kind of
skipped.
fun.
Yeah, I
and
skipped
nothing.
the episode last night. Because
All right.
I'm just gonna watch the rest later.
What's next?
Luis Enrique de la Pena said, "What is worse, ketchup on eggs or on fried chicken? Discuss." Fried chicken? What the?
I mean, I would.
Ketchup on fried
People
chicken.
dip
Ketchup on
their-
eggs is acceptable.
People dip their like chicken wings in ketchup,
Yeah.
like so I can understand
It's
that.
different,
but I
though.
would prefer barbecue sauce for that.
You don't.
But I
put-
know John's answer.
No, I think people who eat ketchup and eggs should be rounded up to live on an island somewhere 40 miles off coast.
Well, that's where-
That's just how you get Australia, John. Don't do it.
It is a crime. Ketchup on eggs is a crime against humanity. I've never had ketchup with fried chicken. I don't. I mean, that sounds odd, but I don't think it would make me vomit like ketchup on.
I can't explain it, but ketchup on chicken fingers, good.
Yeah.
Ketchup on
I
fried
never thought of
chicken,
it.
Blew y'all
bad.
Yeah. So like if you're dipping your fried chicken in any sauce,
It's
you're
not good fried
eating the right
chicken.
fried chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe a
yeah,
little
yeah.
syrup
As
there
far
with your
as on the
waffle, but
bone,
yeah.
Yeah. But
All right.
strips, I'm on barbecue sauce.
What's
Yes.
next?
Raymond Verrata said, franchise and nostalgia films are in vogue now. If Constantine is brought back by WB and Disney owns Fox, hey, Disney, bring back Speed with Keanu.
No,
Oh man, that is the
no, they'll never bring back Speed.
No.
And I'll say this: had Speed 2 never come out, and we were sitting here 30 years later, I would probably say, you know what? There's a chance they could bring back Speed, but after Speed, I just don't see them doing it. Nobody. I don't think anybody wants another Speed movie.
No.
All right, what's next?
Chase O says, hi, crew. 28 is the number there. 28 years ago today, one of my favorite movies came out, The Shawshank Redemption. You all know what I'm watching tonight when I get off work tonight.
What's that? Never
Shrek.
seen it.
What shot? Listen, it is maybe the greatest film of all time. I mean, I'll still give that to Godfather and things like that. But Shawshank Redemption to me is in the conversation of the greatest movie ever made by human hands. I just think it's that good. Everything about that movie is masterful. The direction, the story, the pacing of it, the characters, the performances. It is an absolute masterpiece.
And it was shot by Roger Deakins.
And it was shot by Roger Deakins, and it never won Best Picture at the Academy Awards. It came out during a year when Forrest Gump was really, really hot and all the rage. Now, when you look at any top 100 list, Shawshank is always ahead of Forrest Gump. But it is a pure, unadulterated, absolute masterpiece of filmmaking. I honestly think it's one of the greatest things ever made. Have we ever talked like what? Are
No,
your
it's one of my favorite films of all time too. You know, I used to read that story every year at Christmas. The original story is called Rita Hayworth in Shawshank Redemption.
Right.
It's in different seasons, and I love the movie. Exceeded all of my expectations. It also, John, has one of my favorite sound effects in any movie.
Wilhelm
You know the
Scream?
big wide shot when Andy Dufresne's first coming into the
Yep.
and the camera, you hear Thomas Newman's score rising, and there's the aerial shot that comes across the whole prison yard.
Yep.
It goes past the flag fluttering,
Oh.
and the music's playing, and for whatever reason, that sound effect of the fluttering of the flag is perfect. It's just perfect because it is. I don't know why I love it so much. They didn't have to put that sound effect there. But it's the greatest little sound effect in any movie ever. I'm convinced. Just that little flag.
All right. What's next?
I know
Ray likes
people are
horses
looking at me
running.
like I'm out of my mind, but
That's just-
watch it again.
That's just how I look at you. Sam Fisher said, Andor didn't click for me until episode 3. I think it was because the 3 episodes seemed to have been written as one and then edited apart.
I mean, again, that's one of the reasons I can see that. That's one of the reasons why I say the best decision they made was releasing the first 3 at the same time, because now we've got a real sense of it. We understood the beginning and then the payoff that comes and what this is. We're getting a sense of where it's building to. So I completely get where you're coming from on that. And that's why I thought it was a great decision. All right, what's next?
Al Rensha said, we all want to see John Goffett fight Darth Chapek and then take on Emperor Adam Aaron.
I mean, I think that's a movie right there. That is something to be made right there. I'm sure I am on Bob Chapek's Christmas card list. Yeah. So yeah, listen, my mama said, if you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything. So
But we wouldn't have content if you lived by that rule.
This would be a very short show. All
we
right.
got 2 hours to fill, John.
What's next?
Jedediah Elias said, Mario trailer, New York Comic Con, October 6th. very nervous.
They sent out, I got my email from the PR team today. They sent out this big artwork. Get ready. Here it comes. October 6th at New York Comic Con. They made a poster for it and everything.
Let's go.
The Mario Brothers trailer, the Super Mario, whatever the name of it's going to be. They're going to drop the trailer in October. 6 months before the movie comes out.
Is this the animated movie? Is
Yes.
it live?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the one that Chris Pratt's doing
Yeah.
the lead voice.
And Anya Taylor-Joy.
I am, let's just say I'm curious. I am curious to see how this will be. I don't know why they didn't get an Italian to play Mario, but that's okay. I can live with that. It's just a voice. We'll see. We'll see. All right, what's next?
Jin the Jedi said, I was raised on great female leads and stories from Charmed to Desperate Housewives. So She-Hulk to me at this point feels extremely insulting story-wise. So for the first time in the MCU, I tap out.
Again, listen, you know I'm tapping it, but I don't understand the complaint about story. It's a sitcom. It's a sitcom. And some of the greatest sitcoms of all time never had a story. Each individual episode had its own individual thing. Seinfeld, for heaven's sakes, there was no story in Seinfeld.
It was a show about nothing.
It was a show about nothing. So that's all fine. It all comes down to me about laughs. Did you make me laugh? And this show just didn't make me laugh. And I don't care about, like, they've done a number of things well. Tatiana Maslany is great. All this kind of stuff. The premise is super fun. But if you're not going to make me laugh, I got no time for you. So that's why I'm tapping out. But hey, it all hits us in different ways, and that's how it hit you. And whatever your reasons are, I can respect that. All right, what's next?
Matt Boyle says, is there a movie that you can quote all the time? Mine is Dumb and Dumber. Why you can't triple stamp a double stamp?
So Ann and I are constantly quoting. There's one line from it they were constantly quoting whenever something comes up about, oh, I had this the whole time. It's like, you had 2 pairs of gloves. That is like one of the funniest moments in the history of movies, by the way. When they finally arrive and he takes off the second pair of gloves. You had 2 pairs. That is one of the most quotable movies ever. I mean, for me, obviously, Star Wars, Zoolander, I quote a lot when I'm just hanging around. Stuff like, do you got a movie that's a go-to quotable one?
Too many. Yeah, all over the place. Quote a lot of movies, but it's all over the place. Different things.
What about you, Amy? You got one you quote a lot?
I feel like one for me is Pirate Radio, which not a ton of people have seen. So there's
Wow.
just random things from that I'll quote, and people look at me like I'm a nuts person. So that's always fun.
For me,
Wow.
it's probably like Life of Brian.
Life of Brian's is good. Or go to another one. Holy Grail is a big one. Big one. All right. What's next?
King Tane said, recommendations for a region-free 4K player, Rob?
There's not a lot of 4K players out there. My region-free player is a Sony player. But any of the, they're usually about $300-400. You can get them on Amazon. The problem with players now is they're so cheaply made. I hate that.
And fewer companies are actually making them.
I know, but mine is a Sony player, and I think it was like $399. I did get it off Amazon. So.
And it still costs $399?
Yeah, because it's multi-region.
Oh, okay.
But you can find them cheaper. I mean, it's sometimes they're modified stateside, or you can get them other places. But
all right, guys. And that'll do it for this installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here and making this show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in those super chats. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it. And all of us involved with the show, thank you guys so much for your support. Don't forget, guys, to come on back and join us for the John Campea Show again tomorrow. Guys, make sure you take a second, click the subscribe button, become a subscriber to our channel, click the thumbs up, leave a comment. It all helps the show out with the big YouTube algorithm in the sky. I want to thank the people sitting in the room with me, of course, Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. We got Amy Newman over there. Joining you guys in the live chat has been Ray Ora, and of course, running the show producer, Jonathan Voico. That'll do it for us, guys. My name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.